You don't go anywhere for work. Your work is next to your bedroom.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Like it's there's no escape from work. There is one escape. There is one escape from work.
Oh yeah?
Do you want to know my escape from work?
Is it death? The sweet embrace of death?
No, although it does start with a D. Oh. It's called Desinacho.
Desinacho.
Not salsa, not flamenco, my brother.
Do you know?
Desinacho. What's Desinacho?
Oh,
Tyler, do you know about Desinacho?
I do know about Desinacho.
Amanda, do you know about Desinacho?
I do not. What is that?
Oh, baby.
Oh, like
So Nate and I are Indian nationalists now.
Yeah, we've done it. Who's your favorite president? Mine's, I only know one, so it's going to have to say Modi. Which I feel like that's bad. We shouldn't like Modi.
We shouldn't like Modi, but goddamn. So
we don't like Modi, but we do like the country of India. Hey,
we
Indians,
do.
You're right.
It is a cool country.
And it's not just that we like India. We hate the British. We hate those colonizing fuckers.
That's right.
Oh, one of my notes mentions the British. You're going to love it.
Oh, thank God. Look, the sooner we can set that sun on the British Empire, it would be better for everyone involved.
The great thing about the sun is that it sets itself. We don't have to do anything. They'll just go.
So yeah, Nate and I have recently become RRR pilled, is what you could say. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Would you say that you're more of a Rom or you're more of a Bheem?
Oh, God. I am not prepared for
Are you
this.
fire or water?
If I'm honest, I'm probably water.
Yeah, I'm Bheem too. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not going to chill out in the woods. I hate camping. I'm no child of the forest.
See, here's why I think that you're wrong.
Okay, now we should really listen. Go watch it. Stop this. Go watch RRR.
Turn off this podcast. Go watch RRR. It's on Netflix. Amanda, stop talking to us. Go watch a 3-hour and 5-minute movie and come back.
Oh, okay.
No, what do we call this? We call this the Indian Hamilton. I called this the Indian Hamilton. Okay, it's not that.
It's good. It's good though.
It's good. Yeah,
it's not Indian Hamilton.
They the capital T.
Yeah.
NTR made a movie called RRR. The first R stands for story. The second R stands for fire, and the third R stands for water. That'll make sense in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I promise. It's this movie about an Indian revolution. And I don't want to give anything else away, but if you like Animorphs...
It's a movie about friendship.
Yes. The two best friends on different sides of political war.
That's right.
And they have to work together and hate each other.
One might say Jake is fire and Cassie is water.
Yes.
I think is the way I would describe that in the context of we're talking about Animorphs and not about Bollywood movies.
Yeah, we haven't even introduced Amanda. We just want to talk about this Bollywood movie.
Pitching it to me as a Bollywood Hamilton does not...
No, that's not good.
I mean, it paints a picture.
So the argument I heard about it being Hamilton is that it takes horrific, awful moments in history full of terrible people and sort of paints it through a rosy-eyed liberals like lens.
Which probably is true. I don't know enough Indian history to say no.
Yeah, I don't.
What I do know is in Hamilton, they do not, like Hamilton and Hamilton's best friend, do not combine together to make an ultimate killing machine. Like Hamilton does not pick up his friend and use his friend as a weapon.
Yeah, he doesn't pick up Aaron Burr. They don't take down King George. What's Hamilton?
They don't get together and jump off a bridge with a rope and then use their equalized weight to save a child.
Yes. At no point do they cover themselves in the India flag to protect themselves from fire. If Hamilton did that, I might be a different guy.
Yeah.
They can't tell you their names. They can't tell you where they live, but in the mid to late 90s, these 5 teenagers can turn into animals to fight an invading army of evil brain slugs. 5 dumb teens are the only thing standing in the way of complete annihilation. This is Anamorphing Time with Nate and Tyler.
Get your hand off my girlfriend, you yerk-brained bastard!
This is for Daddy. Make it like half the bottle.
Catherine Alice Applegate wouldn't want this. Doesn't want this. Blah, 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 blah.
And like they're like, no, stop shooting at children.
Oh man, being 12 was weird.
Welcome to Anamorphin Time.
Welcome to Anamorphin Time with Nate and Tyler. I'm Nate. That's Tyler.
Hi.
And
Joining us today
yes.
for, what is this? Book number 53.
No, see, I say now this is book 1 because there's only one more book left. Countdown to 1.
We've been counting down. So book 1 was 50. Oh, God.
Well, but, okay, so book 0 is the beginning, so it kind of loops back.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is...
Sure.
Look,
Okay.
Stop doing this to my brain. It's not functioning fully yet. Joining us to talk about our final true single narrative Animorphs book, book 53, The Answer, is animal expert Amanda. Welcome to Anamorphin Time.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, I am the child who sat home all the time, completely unattended, and with full access to cable television, watched nothing but Animal Planet and Discovery Channel and my animal documentary VHSs.
So you are the true animal expert.
How many deaths have you seen David Attenborough describe?
You know, funny enough, I didn't watch many David Attenborough stuff. I don't know how, as a child, I did not see many, but I have seen many animal deaths.
I mean,
Go on.
That's what those documentaries are. Just like, hey, watch this cute animal be horrifically eaten by a snake.
Oh, I also used to volunteer at a wildlife rehab center, so I have literally peeled rat intestines off of the asphalt in July.
Boy, that is a sentence that just got worse the more it went on.
So tell me, why do you like Animorphs?
Oh, it ticked a lot of boxes as a kid. So I actually really ignored it for a very, very long time during those Scholastic book fairs where they would roll out the carts.
Much as women did to me for years until they sniffed out my money.
Your money.
Yes.
Look, I was quoting Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Sorry. I should say, Amanda, I'm going to be in rare form today as I'm coming off like 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, fantastic.
You should have Desi notched before the show.
I did Desi Notch. That's why I'm so tired. The RRR heads are going to love that one.
Desi Notch is just a dance. They dance and they call it the Desi Notch.
Nice. I'm coming off of taking just a little bit too much Adderall because I had to double up my old pills because I was out of my current ones. So that'll be fun.
I can't wait. My dad smokes his Adderall and he buys it in a bag.
I bet you have that in common with General Double Down. Where you just have to double down your Adderall.
Please continue telling us your history with Animorphs. Sorry. This is off the fucking rails.
So I ignored the books for a very long time because the cover of book 1 did not look at all appealing to me. That lizard, because I never really looked super close. Like I would see the title that said Animorphs, but then I looked at the cover and I was like, that looks more like a UFO kind of thing than a lizard. And it just turned my brain off because I didn't want to read like just an alien sci-fi book. But
the hidden hero, David Mattingly, saved your reading career.
Objectively, the worst cover is the first one.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like an alien. It looks like a gray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Well, it looked kind of like. Sorry, it kind of looked like just a flying UFO, like a "Truth Is Out There" poster. So I was
like the original Invasion, like Z or whatever. What was that show called? V.
Yeah, V.
Original V monster.
Yeah, and my brain just wasn't really interested, and I don't remember how I started reading them, but it resulted eventually into my mom also reading them, and then she signed me up for like a monthly subscription where I would be sent like a box set of like 5 at a time.
Wait, was your mom secretly hooked and that's why you were reading it? Is because your mom secretly also wanted to read Animorphs?
I got into them first, and she happens to be a completionist, so when she started reading them, that spread into, well, now we have to get all of them.
Yeah, I get that.
And so
That's why Tyler watched all of Dexter.
Shut
fun.
why do you tell people my business? Yeah, I watched every episode of Dexter New Blood. Every week I waited.
Well, it sounds like New Blood was pretty good.
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
definitely.
My mom has every season of Charmed on DVD.
Yeah, hell yeah, Charmed.
Oh, you just unlocked Nate's hidden love. He loved Charmed.
Who's your favorite Charmed? We're not talking about the new season. We're talking about the old TBS.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really
Dang.
watch them. I'm sorry.
Hey, can you call up your mom? Nate wants to talk to her about Charmed.
No.
I'm very excited for our next podcast, Charmcast.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
two charming boys.
We're not doing that.
No Charmed. There will be no Charmed on our next podcast.
So I was getting the books like in the mail on a almost definitely monthly basis. So I was getting them like as they came out, I think, right up through the end. And I was like kind of bummed out when they stopped.
I can't see why you'd be bummed out at the end of these books.
Yeah, I started tearing up a little bit reading through this one again.
Oh, yeah. So you've got a storied history with Animorphs.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. When
Is that the R? Are we starting with R, the story?
yeah, the story.
Oh, and fun fact, I've mentioned this to you guys before, or at least to one of you before. A coworker, sort of a coworker, I think he's a director at the company I work at, was the model for Marco for a few books.
Yeah, okay. Yep, you did tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you call him up and I'll talk to him about Marco while Nate talks to your mom? Let's get a party line going. If we're going to talk about something from the 90s, let's do a party line.
Oh my goodness, no.
So
when my company bought his, he put as his fun fact that he was the model for Marco, and I think it's still one of his user pictures on the company Slack.
So for 98% of people, that's sad. But for us,
No.
that's so cool.
People know about Animorphs.
Oh,
It's not just the weirdos that are, say, listening to 60 episodes of a podcast.
It's
okay.
super awkward because I had just bought the posters from David Mattingly's store on Etsy for a couple covers, and it happened to be two of the covers that he was on, and they were like in between having bought it and receiving it when I found out that now I technically know this person, and now I have pictures of him as a child on my wall.
If you ever get him in like a corporate secret Santa, that'll be hilarious.
Or like if you ever do like frequent Zoom calls, just have that casually in the background.
Oh,
Hey.
man.
Hey, remember when you turned into a gorilla? It's right here.
He wasn't the gorilla one. He was toward the end. So he's actually, I think,
Like the bee and the...
Or a duck.
let's see. That one book where it's a silhouette of all of their heads, I think he was for Megamorphs.
Oh,
And
okay.
then for book 54. So the
Oh.
next book.
The end game Marco.
Yeah, he was Endgame Marco.
Sweet. God.
So speaking of posters,
Well, hold on.
yes.
I wanted to ask Amanda, when I created this sign up, or when the sign up was created, was this just a book open, or did you pick this book on purpose to talk about this one?
A bit of both. I originally wanted to just dive into book 54 because of some things that happen in that book, but I also really love this book because it has so many things.
It's packed.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
So-
And I apologize for whatever this runtime will be.
So much worth talking about in this
Yeah.
book, and so many things in it that I have absolutely gone on very long tangents with one of my friends about, who is still very into the series as well.
So
we should say this is a return of Kathy Apples.
yeah,
like-
she brings us the answer.
Kimberly Morris, get fucked. Ellen Guru, see you in hell. Lisa Harkrader, piss off. We're back. We got the OG author.
Wait, who wrote Atlantis?
I don't remember.
They're cool. They can stay.
It is wild to me that still, after all this time, that's the one you stick with.
They went to Atlantis because it was just a real place that had nothing to do with the Yeerks. It was just there. But you know what? That's not important right now. We have other bigger things to answer.
In a book where they're tying up all the loose ends, or starting to, you bring up the Nartek.
I love the Nartek.
Queen Soko and the Nartek. That is where you want to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. But okay, listen. All questions are about to be answered.
Where is Queen Soko?
They don't answer that one, so let me just do a little correction here. Some questions are about to be answered.
There's always book 54 for that answer.
Nate, you're going to be disappointed.
I'm excited for. Let's figure out what happens to the Nartek. But so front cover, Jake is turned into literally Jake the Snake.
That's
Which hey,
Another
not
one
a
of my interests.
oh, really? Wrestling?
Yes.
Now, does Jake the Snake actually use the snake as like a weapon?
Yes.
Has he there has to be the moment where he's thrown a snake on like a wrestler and the snake freaked out, right?
Yes. It was actually one of the more notable moments in his feud with Randy Savage. Randy
Good, get his ass.
Randy is literally terrified of snakes. Well, was. He died.
He has no fear now. He's in heaven.
Was that before or after the rap album? Listen, I know nothing about wrestling.
No, that was Macho Man.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah.
Amanda, have you listened to the Macho Man rap album?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. Be a man, Hulk.
Don't be scared.
So,
Run
yeah,
from
so
Macho.
Running from Macho, that's what I heard.
Put you in check. Be a man, Hulk. Come on, don't be scared. You're running from Macho, that's what I heard.
We can't be doing this. We
Hollywood
can't.
Hulkster.
We have so
In
much
one
to
of
cover.
oh man, in one of Jake's matches with Macho Man Randy Savage, he pulled a king cobra out of his bag and just tossed it in the ring, and
Hell yeah.
with Randy like tied up to the ropes, I think he was, and the cobra bit him.
Admittedly, I feel bad for like that snake. That probably wasn't a good time for the snake. That was a great time for the audience.
I bet it feels good when a snake like sinks their venom into someone. That feels like coming, right?
What, for the snake? You think it's like good for the snake?
I would guess so.
I think
It
it's
feels-
probably more like just going, like just peeing. Like,
Yeah.
Imagine holding pee in your teeth.
It's probably closer to gleeking, for being honest. Like, it's like, ugh, ah.
now it's not in their teeth; it's in their cheeks.
Okay, imagine having your cheeks full of piss all the time, and as soon as someone pissed you off, you would piss in their like skin.
Let's continue with the book. There's a lot to do here. And we didn't even talk about the cover, which I think is cool, but the inside cover, I may buy this inside cover.
You love this inside cover
Because like it's one of those things where it's like it's not like the kind of surreal I always think of Grim Fandango. Someone out there will get it. Of just like mismatched like cutout pictures, like the what was it? The Gorilla on a Rampage in Downtown book,
Yep.
where it was just like pictures of like, mishmash pictures. This one is hand drawn by a person, right, on a piece of paper.
Yep.
Well, yeah, by David Manley, right, on a piece of paper, and it looks amazing. Every single one of these, like probably 50 taxons. He was just like cursing taxons at the end of it, but. Yeah, so to describe the picture, it is a cave full of taxons, all standing up, all I assume are wiggling, giving off this iridescent light to a snake on a pedestal.
big ass snake.
To just a big ass snake on a pedestal. And I'm like, anyone who doesn't know Animorphs is going to be confused as all hell. And I like that emotion.
And honestly, David Mattingly's design for the taxon, greatest of all time.
Right, like, so they kind of have crab legs too. Now I'm kind of looking at it, right? Like, I never really thought of like their pincer or arms before. I kind of thought they were just centipede stabules, right? But like, no, they have like crab hands. It's great. They're gonna fuck some shit up with their crab hands.
Yes.
The book does mention that like the upper half of their legs is all like little crabby claws. They have little
Just-
grabbies.
Is this like a minor version of Andalite Truth? It's like, oh yeah, no, they haven't, like, because I just think of them as
No, they've mentioned the crab arms from the beginning,
okay.
but if you don't look at them often, you kind of forget because they do lean into describing them as centipede and worm-like.
All right. Well, let's get into some answers here with the answer for Scott Bremer.
Who's Scott? I'm not gonna look it up.
You know, Scott Bremer. He's the inspiration for the taxons because he's so very ugly. Sorry, Scott Bremer.
This one goes out to you, you apple-faced goon.
You lamprey-looking bastard. But chapter 1.
What are we drinking, Nate?
Oh yeah, what are we drinking? So okay, first off, we're drinking coffee.
Yes, I just woke up. I made us get coffee.
The second thing that we're drinking is from Rogue Brewery.
Yeah.
Whiskey ginger. Now, Tyler, tell me about Rogue Brewery.
So my current job, I'm at a small coast town somewhere in Oregon, next to this Rogue Brewery. I've been staying at the Motel 6.
Yeah.
It's been, well, they leave the light on for me, so that's good.
Cool.
If I want a wake-up call, it's Tom Bodette who calls me.
Gross. I don't want that. That's not a waking up voice.
But next to this hotel is the Rogue Brewery, and they have these new little like cocktails in a can, and I got us the whiskey ginger.
yeah. How do they feel about unions, that Rogue Brewery? By the way, they shut down
They-
stores if they...
They hate them.
Yeah.
they hate them, which don't like that because they use a lot of Soviet imagery.
Yeah.
Which,
Really?
come on. Yeah, they do. Like, come on.
Yeah, they have like a big star, big red star. Anyways, steal their beers. They're good.
Yeah, they're great product, horrible people. Kind of like Donald Trump.
What? What does he make exactly?
Entertainment for all the nice people.
He was entertaining.
I hope he dies. I hope he fucking dies. I mean, I know he will. And it'll
Okay.
be very funny when he does.
Yeah? All right, so here we go. Chapter 1, a very timely chapter. They're going for the elementary school, Tobias said.
Oh, God. Why? Why did you say that?
It's one of those things where I'm like, you know, it was just a different time.
This really was before most of the horrific school shootings.
It was before 9/11.
Only before most of them, though.
Yeah,
Right.
there was
Columbine had already happened.
That's back when we shot young adults.
Yes.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're leveling the town of Sunnydale, California.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jake, Tobias, and Marco, they're flying around and they're watching bug fighters, just a fleet of bug fighters absolutely raze the town where the hole of the Yearn pool used to be. They are just melting everything down. Houses, schools, just destruction.
Yeah.
Like freaking monster trucks flattening this city.
Yeah, I picture it's just like this nice little circle of like literal flying, like, okay, bug ships. They look like bugs, but they're flying saucers, right? They just kind of hover.
Yeah, sure.
I think they just kind of hover. They're enclosing this town and just kind of encircling it and destroying everything in its path. And Jake even mentions like, hey, they're making this weird circle while he watches his hometown be burned to a crisp. And I include all the residents as well. Right?
Yes, because they call them refugees. The
Right.
refugees are running.
So anyone who hasn't gotten out is now in a bad spot.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're just watching this horrific violence. They're still recovering from the destruction of the Yearn pool when they tossed a bomb train into it.
Yes.
This is just right after that.
Yeah, and
Right.
Jake's like, I did that. I did it. It's all me.
Yeah.
And you know what? America, news cycle never sleeps. A news helicopter shows up and is filming them, and the Yearns just let it happen because it's like, fuck it, mask off. Like, call me future because the mask's off.
Well, if anything, they're doing them a favor. It's like, look how strong and cool we are. They don't even bother fighting us. See these jets over here? Yeah, look at these little suckers. I don't even care. Let them hit with a missile. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, the Yearns blow up our brave boys.
Yeah, there was one F-35 that just kind of blew up on the way there, but the other jets managed to make it and tried to shoot down a single bug fire and they just got wrecked.
Yep.
Totally obliterated. And this is when we get into chapter 2, which Jake introduces himself. My name is Jake Berenson. And like, that's not a cool name.
It's a normal name.
Yeah.
He was a normal kid.
Yeah, how does he feel about the Berenstein Bears? Berenson Bears.
Why? Amanda, why does he do this to me?
And he doesn't care for them.
He wants the tangents.
And so yeah, like this whole chapter is just about like, I don't care anymore. I don't give a fuck. Here's my full name. Here's my address.
Yeah.
Here's my blood type if you want it.
I'm a 16-year-old kid named Jake Berenson. I'm the leader of the Animorphs. In the past, it's been hard for me to say that, to take on the title of leader. In the past, I've questioned myself, wondering whether I was right, wondered whether what I did was good, wondered whether I had any right to make life and death decisions. I felt sorry for myself at times. Maybe anyone would in my spot. But I had to put all that aside now. I had to put it all aside. Not because I was suddenly convinced that I deserved the power, was worthy of it. That wasn't it. I knew better than to get too caught up in the myth of mighty Jake the Yearn Killer. I had given up soul searching because I realized now that it was simply too late. Way past too late. The battle had become a war, and I was, for better or worse, the only leader we had. From here on out, the second guessing, the legitimate doubts, and the self-indulgent whining, they were over. Save them for my old age in the unlikely event that I ever had an old age. Yeah.
It's been a rough, apparently 3 years.
Yes.
Like we're starting to get some facts. Right?
Uh-huh. All the answers, you could say.
Yeah. Here's a question I had. How long had this been going on? If I had to guess before reading this, I would have said a year.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel finding out that they were 13 when this all started?
I honestly pegged them at 13 throughout the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't aware that so much has gone on because, well, I think, okay, so now that we've kind of getting closer to the end and certain topics are now like concluded.
And you don't know how this ends. You've not read the last book.
But like the topic that's concluded is like, oh, school.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not going back to school.
No, the school got burned down in chapter 1.
Yeah, they blew it up. And so I'm like, oh yeah, what happened to their school life? Like like if I had my druthers and I was able to change around a couple stories, instead of having a weird Jake Civil War book, I would rather have a school life book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had a couple of those, but like it just didn't seem like time was passing.
Right.
They should have had like a junior high to high school like ceremony that they had to balance out or something like that. And so like anyways, that's fine.
Well,
we're at where we're at, but
let me put it like this, Nate. When did we start this podcast?
I mean, yeah, it's been some time.
It was
pre-COVID.
2019.
Pre-COVID.
We started working on this bullshit.
Yeah, so true, but also like it does not feel like 3 years.
No, like there's not.
It doesn't matter. It
does not matter, but I will say I liked doing it this way with you because it does allow some time to pass and for us to ingest this a little bit like how it came out.
I suppose.
But I had to wait monthly for this shit.
Yeah, yeah, true. So it probably was 3 years when they started writing this. Huh? Yeah, I guess I buy that, but like in the story, it does not feel like 3 years.
Imagine waiting between this book and the last one now.
Hopefully, I hope they waited like 4 months.
I don't remember how long it was.
So, and then like in this chapter also we get like the touch base with how Jake feels about Cassie, because that's been strained after she gave accidentally allowed Tom to get away.
No accident. Let's not say accidentally.
Well,
it was a choice.
Strong words.
Yeah, it was to stop Jake from killing Tom, not to let Tom go.
Right.
Right. Like that was the main intent.
I loved Cassie. Always had. Still did. But there was this thing between us now, and I could never trust her again. She'd put my personal well-being ahead of winning a war we absolutely could not lose. And I knew that her decision might have come in part from my own self-doubts, my own inability to throw off moral ambiguity. If I had been stronger, if I had been as strong as I should be, maybe Cassie would not have made her fatal mistake. I saw that clearly now. Too late for either of us.
I disagree with Jake.
Yeah, I would say we all do. Well, I can't speak for Nate.
No, I disagree with Jake. I don't know in which way, though, we're talking about right now, though. What are we disagreeing about?
I mean, he's putting a decision that somebody else made on him and saying, like, he's kind of...
But no, like, but to take that a step further, he's blaming that on Cassie in an indirect way because he gave off the cube. Right. Like he lost the cube, and because Cassie didn't stop Tom, he's like, oh, it's Cassie's fault.
And
no, it's your fault.
And he calls it a fatal mistake, and that he can't trust her and he will never trust her again. But like even in the last book, he was sending her on the train mission because he trusted her judgment.
Yeah, I buy the like he has conflicting feelings about Cassie argument because he does.
Right.
Like he trusts Cassie's moral judgment, but he doesn't quite trust Cassie's. Trust Cassie's in the way that you trust somebody in a relationship.
Yeah,
Right?
but if he trusts her moral judgment, then he shouldn't feel that she was a traitor or that she had betrayed him or that letting Tom go was a mistake. You know, all those kinds of things, because that was a moral judgment.
I'm not going to blame Jake on this one. I think that he's right to feel these emotions.
I mean, they're both right. It's complicated.
Yeah, like
emotions can't be wrong, but he's kind of putting the blame on himself in a way that is blaming her.
Wow, it's so weird that a white dude would blame a woman for all of his emotional problems. Huh.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just say Jake is insecure.
Yes.
About everything.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't be the leader. But let's move on. War council's happening.
Yeah.
There's a whole war council. And everyone's there. Toby, the Animorphs, Cassie, and the parents.
Jenny, all the stars are here.
It's true.
Beardy Man, Claude Racine, Dax Flame, Betty Fine,
You got it.
and Raffi Fine. All the stars
You really keep up with all that
are
stuff.
here tonight. Oh, yes.
Eva, all the hits are there. Naomi.
You like that little bit where I said the Animorphs and then Cassie? Yeah. Jake,
that's kind of what Jake does.
yeah. So they're having this war council, and Jake makes the decision like, hey, not everyone should be here.
Yeah, he's like Jake goes full wartime leader. He goes, too many people with too many agendas, but I still didn't know how to tell adults, my friends' parents no less, to be quiet and let me do my job. I tried not to show my impatience, but these days I'm not so good at that. Cassie was watching me. We're not so close anymore, but she still knows me. She said, look, folks, we're going to try to steal to blow up the Yearn ship, or the pool ship. I don't think the question is really whether, but how. Rachel's mom doesn't like that idea. She's like, no, it's the military's job now.
So what are they fighting about? What's the framework here?
The framework here is that they know that the pool ship is there. That's the ultimate target. They need to blow it up.
Okay.
Like they have no way to feed the Yearks on the planet, so they bring the pool ship down so Yearks can feed there. So they know they have to hit that.
I love Naomi.
Naomi is like, I'm so glad they put this point of view in one of the shitty adults' mouths because she's like,
is she shitty?
Yeah,
like everyone calls her shitty. I think she's just speaking her opinion, and she's usually right.
Not this time, but
well, I mean, like okay, but like as an adult, let's pretend it's not you,
Okay.
not like you're not an Animorph and you don't know the context around the situation. You haven't been on these missions. You're just adult Tyler, and you're in the woods with children Animorphs. You let the military do their job. Your guerrilla tactics are over. You did what you could.
I mean, sure, but in the very, right before this, we saw how ineffective the military tactics are. They just get washed.
And Naomi was there.
Yes.
Okay.
Naomi was there in the previous mission to see how ineffective and compromised the military was.
And she says, we gave so much money to the military.
She's not wrong.
Why don't we let them work? And it's like, no, that system does not work.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. Naomi is the adult voice.
Yes.
Right? And so she's doing the adult voice thing. And you're right that she's going into West Wingism, which is we played the system, we followed the rules. Why aren't they working? They should work. They need to work. We just got to keep on following the rules.
Yeah, she's not even saying it that way, though, because she's saying, well, now let's see what we got for all that money.
Yeah, exactly. It's like such liberal brain bullshit where it's like, if I say the right combination of the right words, everything will work out.
she believes that military funding goes to military.
Yeah.
Like, it's just we get more soldiers and they get more guns. It's like, no, they fucking blow it on an F-35 that doesn't work.
Yep.
And it costs like $1 million gajillion.
Or we give it to weapons contractors.
Right. Like, in reality, it's just a pallet of money that goes off to somewhere.
Right. We send it to the Ukraine so they can sell a fucking cruise missile on Etsy.
Right. You know,
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Y'all see how this is that? But anyways, that's Naomi's framework, right? And so, but she is right in that, like, as an adult, you'd be like, kids, don't go to war. What are you doing? Like,
Right.
Yeah, you did a good job. I'm a little bit terrified of you, but also don't.
Right. And I mean, it's Marco who has to point out, you know, with all due respect, those pilots didn't do much.
Sure.
Like, as much as Naomi may be right,
Yeah.
the kids like need help. There's no one to help them.
The logical bridge is always Ava, because she's
Yep.
like, Naomi, I'm also an adult, but
Yep.
also, like, they're effective because they have this cool morphing technology.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's really what it boils
These
down to.
kids are just cooler than us.
Well, and like they're cool morphing technology, and they've been doing this for longer. And even though they're fucking 13-year-olds, now 16-year-olds, they just have experience that we don't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
it's
mean,
like, okay, true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Eva is like, I mean, as a host, she was getting reports of everything that was being done and all of the things that they were destroying and how effective they were being. So the other adults would at least listen to that.
And so Jake knows this, and he knows that these arguments are done, but
Yeah.
they're still arguing because everyone is stuck in their own worldview.
Yeah,
right now.
because there's, like he said, too many agendas, too many people talking. Like, yeah, too much bureaucracy gets in the way. Things don't get done.
Yeah, now's not the time to talk about like the cutlery in the Hork-Bajor dining hall.
Right.
You guys need to go.
Yeah.
And so Jake says all of the parents, except for Ava, needs to go. Well, okay, here's who stays, right? So
Yeah.
Toby stays. Ava stays. All the Animorph stays.
Yeah.
Everyone, including Cassie, get out of here.
Yeah, Jake says, I need Rachel, Marco, Tobias, Axe, Toby, James, and Eva. I hadn't meant to exclude Cassie. I really hadn't, but it was too late. She looked like I'd hit her. She blinked and turned quickly away, covering the moment with aimless chatter to her parents. Tobias gave me a dirty look. Like,
Yeah, you messed up.
like this is
You
one of those
bungled it.
things where it's like, did you not mean to, or did you kind of mean to?
He doesn't know,
He doesn't know.
right? Sometimes your mouth makes decisions before your brain does, and
Oh, go on. Tell me some more about that.
blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
no, that's what words
My
sound.
mouth decided. my
Dang.
brain was not connected to that.
And so like they leave and they solidify the plan. Now, what's the plan?
Jake lays out the plan. He says, if we're going after the pool ship, we need a diversion. And this is like Jake's plan. like we've harped on Jake a lot for being a shitty leader, but this is where he finally
Really steps up, becomes an even shittier leader. He finally has ascended.
He's taken the mantle of leader while still maintaining his inability to make good decisions.
and yeah,
Well, okay, so I mean, so the plan is that they need to sneak onto the pool ship and then create a diversion. They know that Visser 3 is now like he knows that the Animorphs are a threat.
Yes.
He's not going to underestimate them anymore.
Yes, and I kind of love that Jake has to think 4 or 5 steps ahead of Visser 3. He says,
Three-dimensional chess.
yeah, he says, Visser 1 will consider the possibility that we're using the attack as a cover. He's slow, but he's not a complete idiot. He'll figure one of 3 things. First, the attack is the real thing. Second, the attack is a cover for the next attack. Third, the attack is a cover for us to infiltrate the ship and destroy it from the inside. Any of those 3 options does the same thing. Lifts the ship off and amuses himself, blasting everything in sight with the pool ship's big Dracon cannon. And then Tobias says, okay, I give up. How is he going to be wrong? Well, when the diversion comes, we'll already be on board the pool ship, working on breaking those access codes, I said. The diversion won't be to cover us getting on. It'll be to cover the fact that we're already there. It sounded good. Sounded like I had a plan. I didn't.
I mean, he does.
He does.
I think like there's some doubt things here. And honestly, it's a good plan and only Jake can make it.
See, But it took Toby pointing out that there are hundreds of lives aboard that ship before they even considered infiltrating it. Like, I don't know. He had to be reminded that there are people on board.
I mean, Jake's kind of past the point of caring about people.
Yeah.
In this chapter, he says, I just need to do my job. He's not thinking about people anymore. He's not thinking about anything anymore.
Yeah, he is purely thinking about kill enemy and just totally removing any potential victims or collateral damage or anything at this point.
So I think that Jake can only make this plan because he and Visser 3 now have a special relationship. There's that connection, right? I think that it wasn't. The books have been working hard in order to establish that in these last couple of books. They specifically call it Jake a lot, or Visser 3 specifically calls that Jake a lot.
Right.
It's like, oh, that tiger. That tiger's their leader. I know it. Right. And I think Jake is kind of.
Well, of course, Visser 3 loves cats. He sees the biggest cat. That's the leader.
And, it's one of those things where, like, oh, Jake and Visser 3, they're both like leaders of an army now. And they have that general's relationship, which isn't real, but also is something that Michael Grant would believe.
Yes.
Right? Where they're staring out at windows and looking at each other.
Right. They're moving chess pieces around.
Right. And so the plan itself, I don't think is bad. Right. It effectively reaches their goal, right, of trying to capture the pool ship. I just think that there are problems on the execution, and so let's get to the execution, right? What does he need to do in order to plan sneak attack?
Oh boy,
he needs to have a distraction, right? We need that main distraction.
Well, he's got a lot of shit going on.
Oh yeah,
like he sees a pillar of smoke from their camp. He sends Tobias to check it out because that's new. Like, why are things on fire?
Sick, free smoke.
And he's like, Tobias, go check that smoke. Marco, I need you to find me the military.
Like, just giving these big orders to Marco and Tobias.
Yeah, like, is it badly written? I don't know.
No, I think it's like he needs lieutenants.
Yeah, he does.
Right? And like Marco and Tobias, they're very capable people. Rachel is very stompy, so probably not Rachel. Access to
I mean, Marco's kind of a military nerd, right?
Yeah, he is.
So,
and Marco even says, well, the Chi could help us. What about them? And Jake's like, their house burned down. I don't think they're going to be fine. He's like, fine. Jake, I will find the Chi for us. Don't worry. I'll find the military and I'll find the Chi. And so he and Axe go off to creep some computers. They like to get on the computer.
They do.
Like, of course they do. So yes, in 24 hours, Jake had 2 of the 3 answers he was looking for. They couldn't find the Chi, but they found the military.
Yeah.
A 3-star general named Sam Doubledown.
Sam Doubledown. Okay, what's his real name?
Sam Doubleday. But Doubledown, so good.
Yeah, like, who's named Doubleday?
I don't know. I knew someone with the last name Loveday.
That's fine.
First pair of boobs I ever saw in my life.
That's a name for a pair of boobs right there.
Yeah, Doubleday would have been better. Yeah, so they find this like grumpy general. I imagine this Patton like person who's just like the head of Alien Task Force 1.
Yes, they've like sequestered themselves in a cave bunker. That's where Sam Doubledown is, General Sam Doubledown.
That's right.
And Tobias has found that they're building a new Yearn pool nearby.
Yeah.
Like, that was the pillar of smoke.
They're using their special diggers.
Yeah. The specialist of diggers, the taxons, are just going absolutely taxon shit over building a new Yearn pool. It is going fast, fast, fast.
I mean, literally taxon shit. Like, they eat it and then they poop out concrete, right?
I recall the book, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a well-established canon that the taxons eat their own poop when digging.
And yeah, so they're like, okay, cool. There's our distraction. They found the distraction in Alien Task Force 1. Let's go convince this general. So they fly over to this salt cave.
Well, they also give Jake some shit, and he's like, everyone has to go meet the general. Everyone, Jake. Everyone.
Why? Why does everyone have to go meet the general?
Even Cassie has to go, Jake.
Oh.
She's one of us. Everyone. Jake's
Okay.
like, yeah, okay.
Except the auxiliary.
Yeah, they're not.
They do show up though.
Oh, yes. This is where they shine. And by shine, I mean
Glow.
reflect a lot of light.
They glow in this one. They have a real glow up. So that everyone goes to this salt cave, and Jake appears in front of the general as a human child.
Yeah, they go in as like a bug and as a fly, and then
Yeah.
he morphs on the table. He's like, "Hey guys."
And immediately the general's like, shoot that alien.
Well, he doesn't say that. He's like, take that alien to the brig. And Jake immediately morphs and comes back, morphs in front of him again. It's like, what in the tarnation? Get that alien to the brig. So they take
I
him to
imagine
the
like
brig.
this Hank Hill kind of.
Yes.
What the?
Damn it. Get that kid to the brig.
He just crawls out again. Oh!
Oh! We've been sitting on this Hank Hill impression this whole time. We should have busted that out sooner.
Yeah, but the thing is, the plan's not working. He's not convincing this general that he's not an alien. Because like what? Yeah, this kid's morphing turns out not an alien.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
All right, Mr. Alien. What have you got to say to me? I really should have been doing this Hank Hill sooner. Huh?
Sam Doubledown. He sounds like Hank Hill.
And Jake's like, I'm not an alien. I have the power given to me by aliens. We have to fight the evil Yearks. The general looked amused. My help, huh? You need my help? See the stars on my shoulder there, son? I'm a major general, U.S. Army. You're a kid who can turn into a bug. I take my orders from the chain of command, and that ain't you. I gotta stop it.
No, like it's good. And honestly, if I was this general, I would have just shot him. I would just like alien blast.
Right.
Because like you're fighting aliens, you don't know what these aliens. They don't know what these aliens look like.
Right.
They know nothing about the Yearks.
Yeah, they know nothing. And Jake even says the chain of command is almost certainly infiltrated by Yearks. So is his base. Probably even this room. You don't know if the orders you get are legitimate or not. You don't know if the orders you give out are going to be obeyed. Your power extends only as far as the first controller in your staff.
Yeah, and this general, he's all aboard of like capturing and jailing Jake. But then this stupid goon, this rube of a Yeark, he's just like, I can't let him leave alive.
Yeah.
And like one of the like MPs starts loading his revolver.
Well, it's a middle-aged colonel who looks strangely like a Baldwin brother. The Baldwin colonel nodded to one of the MPs. The MP drew his sidearm and chambered around.
So he's saying not Baldwin.
Alex
Looks like a
Baldwin's-
Baldwin.
You know, like honestly, I can never picture a Baldwin shooting anybody. I don't know if I buy
Damn!
that. I don't know if I buy that. Anyways, so this idiot Yeark is just like, gotta kill the Animorph. And it really gives away the game because this MP like wouldn't this Sam Doubledown would never bought this,
He
right?
had
Because it's a
one
stupid plan.
job.
Yeah.
One job, and that's not blow your cover while you're infiltrating the enemy's general.
Right.
Sam Doubledown says the most commanding thing he can. He says, holster that weapon, soldier. It's like, that's the damn it, Bobby line. Damn it, Bobby. And that's when the Animorphs bust out in Battle Morph and they knock the fuck out of that MP.
Yeah, Cassie especially rips his throat out and carries him out.
Yeah, she's got to make up some ground, apparently. And that's the first step.
There's some internal dialogue going on in Cassie right now that I would like to know.
Yes, from beneath the conference table, a great, shaggy, gray-coated wolf exploded out and upward. Cassie's jaw closed around the MP's throat and carried him down to the ground. A wolf's jaws are made for breaking the marrow out of bones. Those long, yellowed teeth digging into your throat, ready with a twitch to sever at least 2 major arteries. Definitely get your attention.
You think Cassie's feeling some big emotions right now?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know she is. Like, they snubbed her. They told her that Jake said that
She's
she
not a
couldn't
real-
sit with them.
She's not a real Animorph.
right. So she's
It's like,
got,
I'll show you real Animorph, and then just like chows down on a guy's neck.
yes. And they they fuck up these controllers. He says, you see my point, General. He nodded. He smoothed his ruffled hair. He pulled a cigar out of his pocket. All right, son, let's talk.
Boom. And then the invasion
Yes.
is happening. The Yearn army has found the stupid salt cave where they sent out the smoke signal. And good job, Sam Doubleday.
Yeah, what are they? Sherman Alexie? Smoke Signals.
Oh, the movie.
Great book. And movie. Great writer.
What? Okay. I don't know
one person's going to like that.
No, I like the movie. Smoke Signals is a good movie.
He's a great writer, too.
Doesn't matter.
I'm having another whiskey ginger. That's right. I woke up and started drinking. Everything's going good in my life.
Just like it is for Jake, because he's just he's full of self-doubt. He's like, I should have seen this coming. Obviously, they're gonna invade right now as I show up. Yeah. So
people don't talk.
Right. So invasion's happening, so they do what they do best. He's like, all right, listen, General, it's time for you to turn on security cameras. Anyone who is not firing at the invading force is the enemy. You need to get them.
Yes.
And and then they jump into battle morph. They're ready to rumble, right?
And Jake gets got.
Oh, this general, though, has a very smooth move on their way out the door, though.
Go on.
So, as they are leaving, I will just read it quickly. He motioned a sergeant to open the door leading out into the main chamber of the underground redoubt. The sergeant took up a firing position half in and half out of the doorway. A Drakon beam annihilated the half of him that was exposed. The general caught his gun as it dropped. We have to get out of here. This room is a trap.
Sam Doubleday, what a guy.
Catches the gun before it hits the ground from the man that was cut in half.
You know, we love our beautiful generals, don't we, folks? I mean, yes, that is a cool John Woo thing to do. It's just see what I assume is your friend evaporate, and then you swivel down and pick up his gun. That's pretty cool. And so the Animorphs they ride out to battle.
Yes.
Does not go well.
No. A Hork-Bajir nailed me with a sudden, unexpected blow. No pain, just a shocking numbness. My hind legs collapsed. He had severed my spine. The bottom half of the tiger's body might as well be gone. I would be dead in seconds. Had to demorph. No other choice. Bam, 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 bam. Demorph, Jake, I told myself, already loopy, drifting. Demorph. A huge Hork-Bajir stood tall above me. The tiger's blood dripped from his wrist blade. He raised his T-Rex foot. He was going to gut me, make sure I was dead. Couldn't move my body. My front paws patted feebly in the air, helpless. Half a dozen rounds caught him in the chest. He fell straight back. I lay there, twisted halfway around. A tiger pretzel. Axe was now astride me, whipping like a mad thing, a Cuisinart making Hork-Bajir puree. Jesus.
It's one of those things where I kind of forget that bullets are effective against aliens, because you never think of just going up to Visser 3's what's the blowfish name?
Lepton javelinfish?
Yeah. Just go up to the Lepton javelinfish get! Got him. Right?
Yeah.
But guns are effective. This army can do something.
Yes.
Right? And just blast this Hork-Bajir and in their 3 hearts.
And bullets are also effective against Animorphs. I heard a thud. Bullet in my hindquarters. I looked up, confused, unable to focus clearly. Then my vision cleared enough to see a soldier drawing carefully, deliberate aim at me. A controller. He looked just like his fellow soldiers, but he wasn't shooting at the Hork-Bajir. He was going for a headshot on me. That's what he was going for. He fired. I saw the muzzle flash. I felt a bullet hit the right side of my head, but I wasn't dead. That's when he gets saved by James.
James! Everyone loves James.
We love James. Welcome, James. James flies in.
What's James' intro music? What's his wrestler music when he's coming into the ring here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Amanda's the wrestler expert. What would you pick for James's entrance music?
Oh, man. Oh, I forgot the name of it.
Sing it.
Oh, it doesn't have lyrics. I was thinking of Ric Flair's music.
Okay.
All right.
I will find Ric Flair's music and I will play during that.
Yeah. So James is morphed as a falcon. Falcon's eyes can see where this controller's aiming. He knows that this controller's aiming for Jake. and he goes to bias on this fucking soldier's ass.
Yeah, you know what's great about James? He recognizes that Falcon is the most effective battle morph. Right?
Yeah.
They all downplay their Falcons, right? But like only Tobias really knew
Yep.
how cool they were. Well, Tobias and James, right?
Yeah.
Matt up to James.
James, the best Animorph. Well,
Second best.
Buffa Human's the best Animorph. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, they have a lot in common. We'll get there.
Yeah. They met similar fates. And that's like seeing this battle, Doubleday like listens like, oh damn.
Yeah, he's not so much phased about the battle, but he realizes like we've been infiltrated.
Yes.
Like that's the problem.
Yes.
How do we solve this problem?
You wait 3 days.
Okay, but like can't we just have them snort some salt or something? Or
Nope. That's
no,
it.
you can't just do a bump of like, some kosher salt.
That only works in the faculty.
Dang. I love
God.
the faculty.
I love the fact. Why didn't we ever watch that?
Yeah, I too want to stab Jon Stewart's face with a ballpoint pen and just watch his head explode.
Yeah, and I want to kiss Famke Johnson. She was the teacher that Josh Hartnett. Never mind. Look, I'm way too into the faculty.
We should watch the faculty.
Do you want to do a bonus episode of the faculty?
Well, we'll just watch it.
Okay, we'll just watch it as friends.
Not everything has to be content.
Can we have the microphones there so I at least feel like I'm making content?
Sure.
Okay.
You can play the bad guys.
You can record it and then just post it as extra content without editing.
We'll think about it.
Yeah, let us know if you want to hear our take on the faculty.
Anywho, so yeah, so like, but like that means that he's not going to be a good distraction force, though. Like
Right.
he's been infiltrated. There's some questionable guards around here that have not revealed themselves. Let's say the smart Yerks, right? That knows that maybe they should kind of hold their cards to their chest a little bit more.
Yes.
And Jake's like, all right, you need 3 days. We'll give you 3 days.
Yeah. It's like, shit. 3 days. If the taxons keep working as quickly as they are, the Yeark pool will be finished by then.
Right.
What the fuck do we do? In which our peace-loving...
Wants to impress her boyfriend.
Right.
Feeling insecure about her role in the Animorphs, Cassie.
Suggests, why don't we kill all the taxons?
Which I'm just like, again, this should have been a Cassie book. The more I think about it,
Yeah.
well, okay, it should have been 2 books, right? We
Right.
need to know Jake's perspective, but also, what the hell's going on with Cassie right now?
This should have been like every other chapter, like Jake Cassie.
Yeah.
God, that would have been so good.
That would have ruled because, like, Cassie's going through a lot. Like, why is she recommending we should kill all the taxons?
She's not even saying it. Like, she's not like saying it either. So she's like, so I've always reading these growing up. I always felt I was a Cassie, and she's more like I'm sure she's always known the decisions have to be made, and she's just never wanted to say them. So that's why she's more like, you have to destroy the digging equipment.
Yeah, she can't recognize the life that she's going to take by suggesting this. Like, she has to divorce herself from the cruel act of killing. So if you say, why don't we destroy the tools?
Well, she's evolved, right? Because in the beginning, you want to think about, and by the way, another movie to watch is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
Is I forget the actor's name. Short Round. Please help me.
I don't know his name.
Okay.
I know him as Short Round.
Damn it. But like in that movie, Short Round is the Cassie of that movie, and he says like, "This is the way I fight," right? Which is like, I don't fight by like punching and kicking. I fight through kindness and words and patience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way Cassie used to fight. But she doesn't fight like that anymore.
No.
But like that, there are echoes of who she used to be. And that's kind of one of them is just like, we need to destroy the digging equipment.
Yes.
Oh, you mean the taxons? The digging equipment, right?
Well, I mean, it's like that whole, you look at how, and I hate to keep harping on this, the liberals have treated our concentration camps now that Biden's president. It's like,
oh, you mean detention facilities?
yes, detention facilities.
Retention facilities.
Yes.
Actually, no, wait, hold on. Which concentration camps are we talking about? Are we talking about
which
prisons?
ones?
Are we talking about the child border camps?
You see the point I'm trying to make. It's like, no, the families stay together now when they're killed.
Okay, yeah.
At first,
Like-
I thought you were referring to the Japanese internment camps.
I mean, both. Like, she's glossing over the real misery and, like, pain she's going to cause, which, I mean, I would too. How could you not? But it's also disingenuous.
It's marketing. She's
And it's-
marketing this idea to herself.
Yes.
It's fully projecting, but there may also be some level of her, recognizing that even if she were to make an argument in favor of a more pacifist, life-saving solution, no one's going to go for it.
Right.
Like, nobody's going to agree to anything that she has to say that is anything short of, we need to kill this specific thing in this place.
But she used to fight for it a little bit. I mean,
She
like
did.
Yeah.
up until like
she's-
when she had to like save everyone in the Taxon book, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
By save, I'm using a marketing term. She had to kill everyone above ground,
Yeah.
yeah.
right, in order to save the Animorphs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ever since then, she's kind of just like, this is my life now.
Right.
Well, no, she's considered herself already dead, and now she can effectively work as a soldier, right? Like it's that thing again, right? It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
she's become the soldier. She's been soldierified.
But she's also doing it in a way that she can compartmentalize that part of herself so that maybe, just maybe, she can live with herself with what she's doing.
No, I mean, but like you're right. That's what she's trying to do.
Yes.
But also no, right? You know.
You are not allowed. You will feel the weight of this, you little girl.
Well, the thing about
Oh, yeah.
compartmentalizing is that sometimes you gotta like they'll open randomly. Like
Yeah.
you'll knock into something and the compartment will fall off and break open.
Oh, you mean like today when I was driving home and I remembered the way one of my dog's eyes looked and I realized, I wasn't going to see him come lumbering around the corner and I just started weeping for about 30 miles.
Yeah, like that.
You knocked into that container and it spilled its contents on you while driving.
Oh, we love emotions, don't we? Don't we, folks?
Oh, speaking of emotions, I love the shallow mourning of not having access to the chi from Jake there, where he only really ever cares about them, or especially Eric, as if he has a reason to use them.
I mean, that's some leader shit. Like, that's what your manager does to you.
Let's get to the point where we start talking about the chi, because I think there's some things to say there, right?
Oh boy.
But right now, in chapter 8, there's a funny. It starts about the American Civil War.
yeah.
and it was
Oh
like,
my
shut
God.
up, nerd. Shut up.
Not more of this shit, you fuck. You
Nerd.
did this. This is Michael Grant being like, all right, I can do the Civil War right this time.
Nobody cares, nerd.
Right.
Oh my God,
Because, like-
this is where I brought up the British.
Oh, let's hear it. What you got for the British?
All right, so first of all, I highlighted this entire thing in my notes and said, is this a thing that people say? I am not a war nerd, but I do not remember ever hearing this perspective ever on History Channel. That perspective being that by the end of the American Civil War, they'd figured out that they weren't playing chess and cities didn't matter as much. Blah, blah, blah. Lincoln had figured it out earlier than most, and his generals, Ulysses S. Grant, William Tecumseh Sherman, and Philip Sheridan made it happen. Yeah, I've never heard that perspective whatsoever.
I've never heard the
and-
name Philip Sheridan, which almost like that's the third astronaut that landed on the moon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, during
okay.
the American Civil War.
Right.
I see you,
but,
Moon.
But yeah, like a majority of guerrilla warfare tactics developed by the American military were picked up during the American Revolution, because when you are fighting against an enemy who wears bright red and marches in straight lines beating drums, ambush warfare is really effective.
Yeah, there's this whole section where they try to paint that the Civil War was the first time they committed war crimes. And I'm just like, no, what are you talking about?
Every war is a crime.
The Civil War did not invent crimes just because it was done against white Americans.
It's not even the first time Americans committed war crimes. Like,
yeah, it's like, well, it's like, no, because there's the Spanish Civil War. There was the Indian French War. Like, these are wars I don't know about because honestly I don't care about war history.
Yeah,
but like war crimes were committed before this. Hell, even during like the initial colonization of America, you know, you could probably point to a couple of things where they weren't playing chess.
And
really,
I mean yes, but let's also give this book and the authors just a tiny bit of credit, especially for putting this in a book for kids, where they say they realized that warfare was no longer about chivalry and honor, about killing the enemy. Find the enemy, kill the enemy. Kill so many of them that those who are left alive lose their will to fight on. Do whatever it takes. That's the way war has been ever since.
Yeah, I like that. The framing is wrong.
It's the
message is right.
It's the ever since the American Civil War part. That's like, no.
Yeah, it's a good message, right? Because like, yeah. There is this idea, and probably currently still this idea a little bit, right? The idea that wars are fought between two people that have agreed to their position in the war, and that they'll do so honorably.
Right.
No.
Has never happened.
But like it's this persistent myth that keeps on happening, so we can trick like 18-year-olds into signing up. And so like that should have been the framing. It's just like the Civil War did not invent violence. Sorry.
Yeah.
It did have one of the bloodiest battles ever in American history.
Is that the Custer one? I only played the game Custer's Revenge. I don't know.
No, Gettysburg.
Accurate war simulator. Custer's Revenge for the Atari 2600.
Someone will get that and just lose their mind.
50,000 casualties over 3 days.
Are you telling me that General Custer did not run across the battleground with his huge erect penis?
He might have.
We don't know. Yeah, he could have.
I like how you didn't finish what the second part of that game was.
I don't. Look, I don't like it now. I never liked it, but I knew what it was.
The first part of that sentence, very funny. Let's move on from Custer's Revenge.
So, bats.
We know that these last episodes are going to be deranged.
All right, let's get deranged then. What happens? Where are we going?
Bat time.
Bat time?
Bat time. Taxon Cave bat time.
What?
They go to the Taxon Cave as bats.
Oh. Do they?
That's how they infiltrate the Taxon Cave.
Oh.
Well, they go to the they don't infiltrate the cave. They infiltrate the crater on the outside.
Yeah, as bats, where they're building a new Yearn pool.
Okay, so these bat men now, because like 16 in war, they're men now.
Oh, you think 16-year-olds are adults? What else do you think?
When they're in war, yeah. Sorry.
You're cruising. looking for 16-year-olds.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
Hey, girl, you been in war?
I have like this like libertarian checklist of things that I consider an adult. All right, war. Yeah. Okay. That adds negative 3 years. It is a spreadsheet. They have it.
Yeah, you know they do. Ugh.
Anyways, they're building this taxon pool, right? Well, they aren't. The taxons are.
Yeah.
But they're going around. They're scooping out the areas. Like, okay, how do we take down these taxons? And well, like it's pretty easy actually, because like the comment I've been saying, they finally acknowledge it. It's pretty easy to take down a taxon. You just go over, you accidentally scratch one of them, and they eat each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not too complicated.
No.
So they go with that plan, right? So instead of doing their normal batamorphs, like what is it? Marco's a cheetah.
Yeah, running around scratching them.
Yeah. So they gather the troops, right? And the troops include both animorphs, auxiliary animorphs, and the Toby battalion.
Yes.
The Free Hork-Bajir. And they start their raid. They just jump right into it, right?
Yeah, they just start murking taxons left and right.
Right. So like, what is it? Marco as a cheetah just like runs as fast as he can, scratching taxons. And this part I need to read.
Okay.
So it's in chapter 8. Taxons were running away, turning and running, confused, terrified. Others lacked even that much self-control. They fell upon their wounded brothers and slammed their teeth-lined round mouths down again and again, rearing up high and with a scream of delight tore chunks from their still living fellow taxons. I saw 2 wounded taxons devouring each other. Both screamed in rage and hate. Both must have known somewhere deep in their fevered minds that this was madness, but neither could stop.
So good.
Yeah, they like made a literal Ouroboros of just like screaming and eating taxons.
Right.
It's you know what it is? It's zombie imagery, right? Like it's the thing I like about zombie fiction, which is just like the mindless horror of like, what if you had to eat somebody and somebody was eating you?
Right. And it also sort of elucidates later the taxons' motives for not wanting to be taxons anymore.
Yeah. There's good motivation not being a taxon. It sounds like it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was also in some of was it Andalite Chronicles? Was it where it's kind of looked at a little bit?
Yeah,
Yes.
Even the noble mountain taxon still kind of say like, yeah, this sucks. We just follow our leader, you know. And yeah, like it really harkens to like the mindlessness of, well, not even the mindlessness. They still have their minds, but they can't control themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's a compulsion, and they're aware of their behavior, but they just cannot do anything about it, which is
Like Nay asking 16-year-olds if they've been in war.
yeah, that's really upsetting.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. I should stop doing that.
You can see
you
yourself
really
doing
should.
it, but you just cannot
Yeah.
keep your mouth shut.
It's just a cool question to ask. I don't know why I keep on asking it.
Damn, girl, you got dead eyes. You been in war?
I
have an
recognize
IRA.
that. I recognize that glassy look anywhere.
So, okay, so like the battle's going well.
Yes, they're
Right.
easily murking taxons left and right. It's drawing all the eyes of the controllers. They're coming down, starting to blast.
Yeah, like the actual like controlled army is showing up.
Yes,
And so Jake gives the order to retreat. They've done enough damage,
yes.
right? But Jake doesn't retreat. Well, he tries to
He
retreat.
tries to, but he gets...
A sinkhole.
Yes.
It's just like that thing that happened in California. But
The
sinkholes,
world's falling apart.
Yeah.
Everywhere's holes.
That's right. Like we've all seen that video of like the car that just gets eaten by a sinkhole and it's just gone now.
Yeah,
it was a pothole until it was just a 300-foot wide sinkhole.
Yeah. Infrastructure Week is still very much looking forward to Infrastructure Week.
yeah, we did it. Thank you, Mr. Biden.
So they didn't do Infrastructure Week on this York pool. A hole opened up and Jake fell into the darkness. And in the darkness, he heard scratching and scream. Chapter 9.
And there were taxons, 3 of them. Each carried a Dracon beam and 1 set of upper legs. I could get 1, but maybe 2 of them, but 3 before they could shoot me? Please do not attack. We mean you no harm. It was thought speak, not the impossible to decipher hissing and spitting of spoken taxon. Thought speak. And impossible as it seemed, I had the strangest impression that it was an Andalite thought speak voice. I froze. What do you want? I demanded. To speak to you, Jake. You knew my name. Of course the Yeerks did know my name now, but it was still a shock. So, this taxon and the other taxons.
By the way, I should mention how funny it is that taxons can hold guns. It's one of those things that, like, I guess I can kind of hold a gun.
Right. Like, a dog can put a gun in its mouth and shoot you. Like, it can.
Like, well, haven't they flown ships before?
Dogs? I know monkeys have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
sorry.
he means taxons.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, listen, dogs,
strong work, Amanda. You're obviously not drunk and stupid like me.
dogs have gone to space. So
No,
let's just be clear.
I forgot to grab the alcohol. Oh well.
Here's what a taxon sounds like.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
So, the taxon who was speaking opened his pincers and let the Dracon weapon drop. The other 2 did the same. Now we are at your mercy, Animorph. That morph is more than capable of killing the 3 of us. So, our boy, our precious boy, Arbron, returns to town.
My name is Arbron. I was an Andalite artish. Right? And it's great because I was fully on board with Arbron being dead and gone from the story. He was in the rank of what was the queen?
Yeah, the Hive Mountain or whatever.
No, like the Hive Mountain, but also like the Atlantis Queen.
Queen Soko.
Yeah, he was in the rank of Queen Soko and JTT. What was his name?
Jeremy Jason McCall.
The Arbron was there. He was in that group of people that I've kind of forgotten about, but also like was not expecting to show up.
Right.
It'd be like if Jonathan Jason McCall showed up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he absolutely was for me too. In this series, and I mean, I had assumed how often do taxons live that long?
Yeah, apparently a long time now, right?
Long ass time.
At least 3 years. Probably more.
Well, I mean,
At
come
least
on, no.
20. It was like at least 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
He saw the rise and fall of disco.
But do y'all want to know why Arbron's in this book?
Why?
Because I did look it up. Amanda, do you know?
Does
If I
Catherine
did-
Applegate have a son called Arbron?
If I did know, then I don't remember. Go ahead.
No, I looked. I did some reading about this book. I looked it up. It's probably been mentioned by other podcasts. Who cares? Nate doesn't know. So Kathy Apples wanted to do a Taxon Chronicles, but they could never make it work. And she thought,
Man, that would have been cool.
like, the story of Arbron would make a great Taxon Chronicles.
Yeah.
But they couldn't ever do it. So they thought, let's just bring Arbron back as the head Taxon on Earth, and that will be the way we can kind of do this, kind of tell the story a little bit.
Yeah, like that would be a great kind of, we think these are gross aliens, they're not, they have a deep inner history thing.
Yeah.
Right. And like, yes, they've done that before with the Harbinger Chronicles, but also like it would just be so much cooler with the Taxons.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're way grosser and way like they come all across as like really stupid. And they probably are really stupid. Right. But like knowing their backstory would be cool.
Right. And this is how they kind of do that.
Hey, Kathy Apples, release a late Animorphs.
Don't worry. We'll talk to her about it.
Calling her out. Okay.
But yes, so Arbron is here.
He's here. He's back. And he has a deal that he'd like to propose.
Yes, I am a Taxon, Arbron said almost proudly. I have been for more years than I can easily count. I was on the Taxon homeworld with 2 Andalites of your acquaintance. One was Alaran Semitur Koras. Visser 1? Not then, but yes, Alaran became the unwilling host body for the Yearn, now ranked Visser 1. He commanded our mission. Alaran was an Andalite prince with the smallest possible command. 2 lowly Aris, me and Elfinger Cyrinal Shamtool. So Arbron lays out the Andalite Chronicles. He's like, white sticks, brown liquid, Mustang, hungry all the time.
Drinking Dr. Pepper with your foot?
Yep, just all that stuff.
No, that
so
part's
Jake
great.
says, what do you want? And he says, I want to be free, Jake the Animorph. And he's not a controller.
Commander Jake, my people yearn for freedom.
God, no, not more of this.
My people yearn for freedom.
So Arbron says the Taxons do not want to be Taxons anymore. They have lived with this hunger, this insatiable hunger, this awful, terrible urge to consume each other and themselves,
Yeah.
and they want to be free of it.
It's much like the hungry hippos. They can't stop eating those marbles. They have to do it.
It's exactly like that.
It's exactly like that. And well, no, like that is torture, right? It's like they have an addiction that
Yes.
they can only fulfill by eating each
Yeah,
other, right?
don't you see, if the Taxons could morph, acquire some more benign shape, and find a safe haven on your planet, become something other than what they are, escape the hunger. You cannot imagine the hunger. They've seen that there could be a better way. The virus of knowledge is in their bloodstream now. They realize that they could change forever. The virus of knowledge. Jesus.
It's very Metal Gear Solid 5. It's like that language that gives you a disease.
It's like as soon as people learn to read, then they're able to read something that makes them realize that their situation is pretty bad, but there are ways that it doesn't have to, be the way they're living.
It's like describing how healthcare works in other countries.
Yeah.
Yes. They're like, you mean I don't have to be like this?
Right.
Listen to me, Jake the Animorph. I have been a leader of these, my new people, for many years. We have fought the hunger, resisted as well as we could the murderous, cannibalistic urges. I've tried to show them a better way, but the need is too powerful. Resistance always breaks down, and we fall again under the Yeark's sway. They feed us, you see. It's as simple as that. I know that I understand the morphing technology. I know it cannot save me, that I am forever trapped, but it can save my people. And if they are saved, I can lay down my burden of leadership.
Yeah.
That's when Jake says, well, that sounds great, guys, but I don't have the morphing cube. And Arborn says, oh, ho, ho, ho.
We knew about this already.
We know, Jake the Animorph. We want to join you. We will help you fight Visser 3.
Cool.
Yes, we would fight with you.
Yeah, right.
There are 1,709 non-controller taxons on the surface of this planet and aboard the pool ship. And we taxons would fight with you.
Yeah.
Did you see this twist coming, Nate?
No.
Do you like it?
I do.
It's cool, right?
It is very cool. And but why is it cool? Because they've been ripping and popping these suckers like nobody's business for this entire series. We haven't been giving them second thought because they're evil.
Yeah, they've never been humanized. They're consuming monsters that just eat and kill.
Right, and the only reason why we got that for the Hork-Bajir is because we met a couple of them. We went on adventures with them.
Yes.
We didn't really get that with the Taxons. Right? And since we didn't get that, we think of them as monsters.
Yes.
And
like,
they're always described as just gelatinous bags of goo.
Right. And so like, oh, I'm still falling into that stupid trap of, if they're your enemy, they suck and are evil.
Yes.
We didn't know that technically about the Taxons. And like, yeah. Even with knowing the things we know about the Taxons because of the Andalite Chronicles, we still thought that they were mindless rubes that, they joined the Yeark Empire because they were hungry.
Yes.
And it's like...
I've gone on dates for worse.
Right. And so it's cool that they're like, there's this motivation to turn them because they have free will.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Usually it's co-opted by their addiction to hunger, but they still feel and think something.
Yeah.
And they've agreed to join us. Yeah. That's sick. That's rad.
The
Super
Yearks
cool.
are, the Yearks are basically the dealer in this scenario. Where
they're like that planet from Next Gen who has all the drugs, who supplies it to the planet of people
my God,
who need the drugs.
I wouldn't say that, no.
Look, he shocked Riker.
Here's what I would say. I bet the Yearks are like that brain invading slug from Next Gen that explodes that guy's head. So Jake comes back from the cave after hearing about the deal.
Yeah.
This special deal that the Taxons has proposed. And he's like, everyone thought Jake was dead. Because, of course, he fell into a Taxon hole.
Yeah.
And like, everyone's super happy and relieved. Except for the ancillary Animorphs, the auxiliary Animorphs, because they're happy to see Jake, but they're not as happy as the other Animorphs. Why is that?
Because one of them got eaten.
What? Who got eaten?
One of them.
Tyler, say his name.
Travis.
What? It's not specifically Travis.
I don't remember. What is it?
Ray.
Ray.
Come on, Tyler. Ray. Okay, let's all go around and say our favorite thing about Ray.
He got eaten.
Amanda?
He was a leopard.
My favorite thing is that he was named Ray.
Rest in peace, Ray. Ray in peace.
And okay, but like that's the thing though, is that the Animorphs, the real Animorphs, probably have the same emotions about Ray.
But the Auxiliaries are like, oh man, Ray.
Well, that makes sense. It's his friend. They went to like the disabled school together. Right? And
you can just say school. You don't have to say disabled school.
No, but
you
they
could say
did.
special school.
Can the school not walk? Like what?
No, Tyler, they went to specifically a school for disabled children. That's why they're on that floor. Right? It's not like they went to normal school.
Nate, we can be better than the
Okay, you don't have to say normal school.
Right.
That was very bad.
That was the problem. I do acknowledge that. It's school.
So yes, Ray's dead.
Ray's dead. No. And so like everyone's torn up by it. They're torn up by it.
Yeah.
But conversely, the real Animorphs are excited that Jake's back.
The first Animorphs, not the real Animorphs.
Some might say the real Ghostbusters are more accurate than the actual Ghostbusters.
Oh,
They're
wait,
more
no.
representative.
Ray wasn't eaten.
Ray did some eating. You see him in that new Ghostbusters? Chunky.
Nah, he got shot. So we all remembered wrong.
Nate's rubbing his face. It's like, no.
I don't like the idea of Ray eating pussy.
Please no.
Ake Danroyd gonna get that slit.
No,
Oh
he can't.
no.
No, he can't. He's
Oh,
gonna,
Dan Aykroyd. I said Ake Danroyd.
That's the evil. That's the one that he's in nothing but trouble. That's Dake Android. Oh, the nothing but trouble version can totally eat some puss.
You said we need to move along. Don't cut a word of this.
All right, everyone, we have 3 movies for you to watch.
RRR.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. And nothing but trouble.
It has Tupac in it. Let's move on. We gotta move.
Yeah, Jake tells everyone what Arbron wants.
Wait, hold up. We're in Act 3, so now
Oh my god.
we're in Act 3, and this is the second R. Fire. Oh, sorry, water. It's water.
Act 3?
No, Act 3. Like,
Act-
the third
we're
one
in-
was water.
We're in Act 2.
Act 2, fire.
We're in Act 2, fire. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Act 2, Jake comes back and mentions this deal,
Yes.
right?
And Axe is like, no way.
Well, because they're all looking like taxons.
Yeah.
Like the goblin monsters that just kind of immediately explode when you poke them.
Yes.
And Marco is immediately like, oh, right, morphing. Yeah, they'd like that.
Right.
Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you, you taxon fuck?
No, because Marco is smart. Marco's empathetic.
Yeah,
Marco is kind. Marco is good. Marco is non-judgmental.
No,
Oh, sorry.
He's very
no,
judgmental.
He's
but
manipulative.
He gets it immediately. Like, oh yeah, if they could morph, they wouldn't have to be taxons anymore, and that probably sucks being a taxon.
Right.
Yeah.
That logic checks out.
And Axe is like, my people will never agree. The morphing technology is the crown jewel of Andalite science.
Well, okay, we skipped that part where like part of the taxons deal was, hey, some of us don't want to morph. We kind of like being taxons. Can we get a promise not to be exploded by Andalites?
Yeah. And Jake's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we got
problem.
you.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
And Axe is immediately like, no, they won't agree to that. What are you talking about?
Right. And this is where, like, they kind of turn on the Andalites. The Andalite High Command is not going to trust us that far, Marco said. The Andalite High Command can drop dead, Rachel said. What good have they ever been to us? Where are they now, huh? We've
Right?
always been their last priority. They've done squat for us. They're sitting off at a safe distance waiting to see whether we win or lose. If we win, they'll pat us on the head and say, good inferior species, good girl, here's a doggy treat. And if we lose, what are they going to do?
Hell yeah.
Like, Rachel's right.
Rachel's right. Print that on a shirt. She's right.
Yes. Yeah, Rachel is right.
Yeah, like fuck the Andalites. They're not gonna do shit.
No, fuck them.
And
At
Cass-
best, they'll not kill us.
And
So,
Cassie
sure.
calls him out on that. Like, well, Cassie tells Axe to,
Yeah,
you
now's
know.
the time to let your
Yeah.
little secret out, Axe.
Yeah, Cassie has been following Axe, our devious Cassie. She says, Axe, you need to tell them. And that's when Axe spills his beans.
Why'd you spill your beans, Axe? Well, because Cassie told me to.
Yes. Yes. Like, they know what Alaran did to Hork-Bajir World, releasing the quantum virus.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie says, hey, Axe, you have something you want to tell us? And Axe is like, yeah, I've been calling home, and they're definitely going to blow y'all up. Like, that's going to happen.
Rachel and Tobias take this news extremely well by threatening to murder Axe.
Yes. I'll kill you myself, Rachel erupted.
yeah. Well, no, Jake, not Tobias.
Yeah, Jake is definitely hurt by this.
Yeah.
Like, Axe has always been the bootlicker, Prince Jake, I'll do anything you say, but this is like...
It's like, you should have at least told us.
Yes.
And they're right. Axe should have at least told them. This would be important information to know now during Endgame.
Yes.
Right? But like they get over it quickly, right? Because there's just too many things going on. And I think that makes sense. That checks out. Like that's not lazy writing.
And
That's
Cassie is like, well, Axe already disobeyed their orders, so he's dead to them.
He did the right thing. But also, again, you should have told us.
But it's like Eva is the one who sort of backs up everything the Animorphs are saying. She says, I can guess. The Andalites didn't want anything to stop the Yeerks from concentrating their forces here. They wanted the Yeerks to pour into Earth. She laughed mirthlessly. The Yeerks are evil, destructive, dangerous creatures. I know that better than anyone. But the Andalites are no saints themselves. They want the Yeerks to concentrate here because the Andalites have written us off, decided we can't win, and they want us to wanted to blast the entire planet out of existence and take out the bulk of the Yeerk race along with the human race. Is that true, Axe? Another long hesitation, then, yes, Prince Jake, it is true.
You know what it is? It reminds me of like the mean general in a zombie movie, right? Where the city's been infected, our heroes are trying to escape and survive, and the mean general says, no, we should nuke the town.
Right.
Right? Like, that's the Andalites. It's just like, hey, this is how we contain it, by blowing it to smithereens. Just exploding it. And, I think this speaks to, like, how bitter the Yeerks are against the Andalites, because it's like, this is no surprise. Of course they're going to do this. Why are you guys trusting them?
Yes. And I should point out, more credit where credit's due to Kathy Apples. The entirety of these books, they've said, the Andalites are coming. They're going to save us. And now when it really matters, no one's going to save them.
Right.
Like, there's no altruistic good force in imperialism or war.
Sure.
Like, except for World War II. Sorry, Michael Grant, we know.
And the Civil War. There were some complex issues. They invented violence in that war. So,
what if I saw off this man's leg?
What if I sawed off 100 man's legs and made him into a pyramid?
What if I stripped naked, pull out my hard penis, and run across the battlefield?
They will call me Custard.
Amanda, did you ever play Custard's Revenge?
Nobody played Custard Revenge.
I did not know. Sorry.
No, it's very bad. Like, if
you're saying this like people know what Custard's Revenge is.
Should I finally tell them?
Yes.
I've never heard of it.
So, Custard's Revenge was an Atari game where the point was you play General Custer. He's completely naked. He has a big old fat penis for, Atari graphics.
The size of his body.
And it was basically Frogger moving across the screen while indigenous folks shot arrows trying to kill you. And then at the other end of the screen,
indigenous folks
was a Native American that Custer would have sex with.
Sorry,
rape. He would rape.
Oh, wait, I think I saw a playthrough of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think of that from time to time, and I just am like, oh my God.
Was this was this one of those games that was on Osama bin Laden's hard drive?
No, I wish though. No, it was full.
Osama bin Laden playing Custer's Revenge.
I'm not joking. No. He literally had a
bunch of emulated games. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, he had a bunch of emulated games, and one of them was a very, very old, very pixely game where the objective was to get across the screen and then have sex with a woman.
Okay, so I think we need to do some research whether or not Osama bin Laden has played Custard's Revenge.
I'm so sorry to everyone who's just learning about this.
Okay, but let's learn more instead about Custard Revenge, the Animorphs Revenge.
So Axe is like, so maybe the Andalite War Council wants to nuke this planet, but I don't think the people want to nuke this planet. If we just convince the people, you won't get nuked.
They'll vote them out of office.
They will vote them out.
That's right. And everyone's like, yeah, voting works. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So that problem is solved for now. There's another problem though. What do we give these taxons to morph into? Because they're dumb worms. They don't know what this planet's all about.
It's not even that. It's like, what can we give the Andalite Council so they won't nuke us? And Axe says we give them the Yeerk pool. Like, we have to take the Yeerk pool. If we give them that, they won't nuke us.
Okay.
So that's the plan.
It's a good plan. But the taxons also they need
a morph.
They need another thing out of this deal, which is a morph.
Yes.
Right. And so we need to give them something that's similar to what they're already kind of used to, which is worming about. Slithering about. They love slithering. They love making hissing noises. But like without the hunger, right? Like they only want to eat like, once every other week or so. What's a good morph for that?
Well, Cassie has an idea.
Oh, yeah?
It's the Anaconda.
Oh. And with that idea, Cassie's forgiven. But kind of yes, actually.
Jake apologized also.
Yes.
Kind
Mistakes
of.
are made. Yeah. That's a good way to, like, honestly, if you're in a relationship and you're fighting, admit each other's mistakes and then hang out around snakes. That is the one way to really repair your relationship.
If someone were to take me
anacondas.
to a meet and greet with a gigantic snake, I would be so overjoyed.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of what they do. They go to the gardens. Right.
Yes. And the gardens is in shit shape.
Yeah, like everyone left. There's a couple like brave people that have stayed behind to feed all the various animals, but
oh, bless them.
Yeah, snakes are pretty low maintenance. Like, you don't need to do a lot to a snake. They just kind of hang around. Especially our featured animal, the anaconda.
Well, hold on. Let's set the scene. So yeah, they go to the gardens. Jake acquires the anaconda, right?
Yeah, and Cassie is there to kind of like let him know, like, hey, this is the perfect morph.
Yeah.
And I think Amanda might have a good idea why it's the perfect morph.
Yeah, so we should
with our traditional good segment.
Yep.
Called
This is our last one doing this.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Because there's one for the Illness Chronicles.
Is there?
I'll find it. No, I wouldn't mind for the Elvis Chronicles. Don't you worry.
What do you have in mind? Okay, I want to ask. I'm going to be on drugs. It doesn't matter. Do you want to sing the song?
I don't know the lyrics.
You don't know the lyrics? You don't listen to it?
Animal facts!
Animal facts!
Animal facts! I have not drank enough alcohol to be as into that as I should be. I'm sorry.
Prince Jake and Cassie, Tobias and Axe, Rachel and Marco. The bandits are here.
They want to be into animal facts. Fuck all the yucks. Marco's mom is a bitch.
We skipped a spot. That's fine. Fuck. So please, bringing us Anaconda facts. Amanda, let's hear what you got.
Okay. Well, Latin name, Eunectus murinus. They were originally a different Latin name until somebody was...
The guy who named Uranus was like, hey, I got a good idea.
Eurectus. What should we name the snake? Yeah, Uranus.
Oh, murinus is I believe... Yes, murinus is Latin for of mice, so, meaning they eat mice because they were classified in the same group as boa constrictors.
Did you know that during the filming of one scene, the controls for the animatronic Anaconda shorted out, causing it to completely lose control, and some of the footage is included in the movie?
Is snakes out there this big?
A what movie?
Anaconda.
What other movie?
Sorry, Amanda. Keep going.
The largest size verified... Well, first, I should say the conflicting information of Wikipedia says the largest female recorded was 17 feet, 1 inch long, and 214 pounds, 15 ounces, which is 215 pounds.
That's about half of what you weigh, right, Nate?
Good, like, I'm
But
choosing violence today.
the largest verified for E. murinus in captivity was a specimen in Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium, which grew to a length of 20 feet 7 inches by the time she died on July 20th, 1960.
Yeah, I believe that would exist in Pittsburgh. They make horrific monsters there.
And she weighed 200 pounds, 10 ounces. Because they are primarily aquatic, their eyes are...
I'm surprised Pittsburgh doesn't measure their snakes in grams.
Oh, she was 91 kilograms.
Thank you.
Their eyes are on top of their head. Not quite a stingray, but they look dopey as hell.
They would try to kill Steve Irwin, though.
And did you know that in reality, anacondas have rounded pupils? In the film, the anaconda has slanted pupils to give it a frightening and villainous appearance. Slightly similar to how the shark in Steven Spielberg's Jaws has eyes that stay black throughout the movie in an effort to give the shark a villainous appearance.
Is snakes out there this big?
In like, what?
I'm just trying to contribute.
What is this from? What?
Anaconda! I'm doing facts from Anaconda the movie, 1997. Did you know that Juliana Margulies and Gillian Anderson turned down the role that J-Lo took?
Is snakes out there this big?
For what?
Stop it! Stop
X-Files?
gaslighting me! Amanda, you're witnessing him gaslighting me!
Obviously,
Please.
she turned it down for X-Files.
Please continue with real anaconda facts.
So, when they mate, the females lay down a trail of pheromones, but no one is really quite sure how they track that scent. Some science believes that the female releases an airborne stimulant, which is supported by the fact that females have been observed being completely motionless while males converge on her from all directions.
Ty, do you have anything to say about that?
I would like to say that John Renault was considered for the part of Paul Cerrone.
Is snakes out there this big?
For what? What are you talking about?
Stop! Stop, you're making me doubt reality.
Doubt reality what? What, is this related to snake facts?
Yes. Many males can often find the same female.
Does John Renault find the same female, Tyler?
Yeah, she's 13. It's called The Professional. It's disgusting.
Wow. Which results in odd clusters referred to as breeding balls, in which up to 12 males wrap around the same female and attempt to copulate.
Jesus.
I've seen John Renault do that.
The groups can stay in this position for 2 to 4 weeks. This ball acts as a slow-motion wrestling match between the males, each one fighting for the opportunity to mate with a female. But
What's that wrestling music look like?
But females...
What's that?
Which wrestler's theme is that, Amanda?
Jake the Snake, duh. But females are larger and they can also just pick a male. So it doesn't necessarily always end up as the one that won the fight.
Just like how the people, there's wrestlers that, win the fight, but they don't necessarily take home the belt.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yes.
we can't say belt anymore. I apologize.
We can say belt?
You can say belt again.
You can't say belt.
Why can't you say belt?
WWE, they don't say belt. They're not allowed.
Why?
It's a championship.
Yeah.
What?
They also don't. They also don't say wrestler.
What?
They say sports entertainer. Let's not get into that because this would be a 4-hour podcast.
It's already going to be a 4-hour podcast.
Oh, it's going to be 8 then. So, on the topic of the fact that females are typically larger, they will very often eat the male immediately after mating, probably because they are incredibly hungry after being in a ball of 12 wrestling men for 2 to 4 weeks.
How does a snake eat another snake?
Starts with the tail.
Well, but kind of right. Like, is it hot dog style or hamburger style? Like, what is that? Like, what does that process even look like?
What would hamburger style be on a tube?
Like, you take a bite out of the middle of a snake. Hot dog style is you start from the beginning and work your way to the end.
So when a snake is eating something like another snake, they'll often move their mouth along the sides of it until they get to an end, and then they'll start there.
They corn cob the other snake.
Nate, later we're going to Costco. We're going chaos mode on the Costco dog.
I will never eat a hot dog in the middle. What are you talking about?
No, they like gum it along the sides until they find the end, and then they go for it.
Oh, that's way worse.
They give live birth,
Cool.
usually 20 to 40, but they could have up to 100. another thing I found is that as they get larger, the size of their clutches of eggs gets smaller, which is interesting. They do still lay eggs. They just incubate the eggs inside their bodies, and they do not guard their offspring after birth. The babies are just on their own. And the most interesting one, are either of you familiar with the phrase facultative parthenogenesis?
Oh, I love facultative parthenogenesis.
Oh, man. There's something I say every day. Facultative parthenogenesis.
What's your favorite part, Tyler, of facular parthenogenesis?
Probably the parthenogenesis part, although I'm pretty soft on facultative as well.
Well, there was an entire documentary on this by the name of Jurassic Park, based on the true story of West Midlands Safari Park in 2014. Yes, it was a prophetic documentary about something that hadn't yet happened.
Okay.
A female green anaconda, which was being kept with another female anaconda, through parthenogenesis, had given birth to 3 young.
Whoa.
See, to me, that's a great time to say trans rights. Snakes believe in trans rights.
Life finds a way.
That's right. Yes, that's Anaconda facts, I think.
Anaconda facts. Blue
remember-
eyes are actually very rare in Portugal. That's John Voight's eyes and where his character is from.
Is snakes out there this big?
Oh, John Voight?
In the movie Anaconda. God damn it! I tried!
What's okay? No, I'll play along. What's this movie, Anaconda? Is it what's it about?
It's about an anaconda.
What does it do? What's that anaconda?
It eats Owen Wilson and John Voight and Eric Stoltz. It doesn't eat Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz lives, but he gets the dreaded Candiru up his penis.
What? Does he really?
He does, yes.
Oh, dang. I need to watch. Okay, there's 4 movies we all need to watch.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah.
RRR.
Okay.
Nothing But Trouble.
Okay.
And Anaconda.
Okay, great. 4 movies. Assignments. We're handing them out.
Let us know which one's your favorite.
When you can't breathe, you can't scream. That's from the theatrical poster for Anaconda.
Wait, what? What do you mean you can't? I mean, like, sure, I guess. But like,
It's a
what
constrictor.
a ripoff of Aliens! Like, that's the weakest ripoff of Aliens I've ever seen.
Good God.
Let's get okay. So, why does Cassie think the Anaconda is a good choice for
Because
the taxons?
they can relocate them to the rainforest, and she can save the rainforest with taxons. I love that.
And they're lazy, and they only eat every so often.
Yes,
right.
I did kind of love that.
She's still thinking about that rainforest.
Yeah, and we get after that probably the saddest moment in this whole book.
I'd say almost in the whole series.
In the whole series.
What is the one of the saddest moments in the whole series?
So Jake, our boy, our beautiful smooth brain boy,
simple basketball loving idiot.
Yeah, he tells Cassie that he loves her, and she says, "I love you too." And he says, "I guess if we win, if we survive, maybe we should, get married and all. I mean, eventually. I know we're young, but man, we've been through enough that it should count for a few extra years, shouldn't it?" I didn't know what I expected her answer to be, but I didn't expect her to start crying, and not tears of joy either. "I would like that, eventually," she said. But what? She sighed. "But Jake, what are you going to be? What are you going to do?" "Guess I thought I'd go to college," I said. "And study what, Jake?" "Me? I'll go to college. I'll become a doctor. I'll never forget what's happened. I'll never even try, but I'll be able to slip back into normal life. But you, Jake?" I shrugged and released her and stood away for a bit. "I'm not Rachel, I didn't fall in love with the fight. I don't need it like she does. I do it. I try and do it well, but it's just a job, a duty." Tried to make a joke of it. "I mean, what do you think? The Pentagon is going to call me up and make me chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? I'm not even old enough to enlist as a private." She didn't laugh. She just looked at me. "Look, Cassie, when this is over, I'll be done with it forever. I'll go back to school, get an education, go to basketball games, get a driver's license, go to college, figure out what it is I really want to do, and be with you and me." She forced a smile. A year after it ends, if we win, a year afterward, if you want to be with me, we'll talk about that again, okay? I have to wait a year? Kind of harsh, isn't it? Hey, if we get married, Marco isn't going to live with us, is he? Cassie said, trying her best to jolly us both out of our dark moods. It didn't work. For the first time, I could taste the faint possibility of actual victory, despite the probable Andalite betrayal. The Taxons might be joining us. For so long, I'd fought with no hope at all. I should be excited. I should be happy.
So this part is important. Right?
Yeah.
And it's important because the book so far has kind of acknowledged that they have grown up in ways that suck.
Yeah.
Right. Which is the ways of war and violence and those adulthood responsibilities. But they haven't grown up in the sense of what it means to love another person and to marry another person and know what relationships are. Mm-hmm. Jake's question here, like, hey, we should get married if we love each other, right? Is a childhood thing.
Yeah.
It is plain house. Mm-hmm. And Cassie, I think, just has like enough emotional intelligence to realize that that's what that is.
Yeah.
That they're just wanting to fantasize about the idea of being a married couple and not actually realizing what that is.
She knows Jake needs this. She doesn't need this.
She doesn't. She's like, no, I want to fuck off and be a veterinary doctor. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and she knows that probably Jake will never recover from this.
Well, and just like, does Jake really love Cassie?
No, I think he's going through the motions of this.
Well, I mean, I think
He has an emotional attachment, and I think he thinks he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jake thinks Jake loves Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cassie has realized that
she doesn't love Jake.
Well, like, kind of, yeah. Like, Jake's something else now. Mm-hmm. Jake is no longer the basketball-loving idiot.
Right.
Jake has become the leader, the war leader, and his identity is tied up with that.
Yeah.
And so, like, Jake has made Cassie do some horrific things, and she can't get over that.
Yeah.
I think in Cassie's mind, the relationship is over, but I also think that, yeah, she does love Jake.
She cares about him for sure.
Yeah, but in the way that, like, all relationships that end, you still kind of care about the other person.
Yeah, you don't want them to die. I mean, I want a few to die.
Yeah, oh yeah. But, like, in this relationship, Jake's not one of those people. No. Right? Instead, like, it's one of those things like, this is sad. Yes. And the response is like, yeah, maybe in a year. Mm-hmm. It's that.
Yeah, let's not talk about this right now. Let's kick this can down the road.
Right. But also, okay, well, yes and no. It's still the childhood response because they're still 16-year-olds.
Yes.
Right. Maybe Cassie thinks in a year they actually will get married.
Right.
We as adults know, no. Right. You're being nice. You're thinking about Jake, and you think you might even love Jake because you don't know what that is.
Yes.
And she doesn't want to say no because also he really doesn't need to hear a no right now.
Yeah, it will crush him.
This book would be about the no if Cassie said no, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, if Cassie's just straight up said no, this would be about the answer to the question of, do you love me?
Like, we've given shit to these books before saying that, oh, this book is a stealth Jake book. This is a stealth Cassie book.
Yeah.
And it works very well.
I think you're right about that. I think, like, it is a stealth Cassie book because I've been thinking more about Cassie in this book than Jake so far. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I know where Jake's at. Mm-hmm. Jake's at... he's in the robotic. He's playing chess. He's in gamer mode, right? Like, he's thinking about how to win this game, not about
because this is all a game, right?
Yeah, and like he's not thinking about Cassie when he says "I love you."
No,
he's thinking about okay, what are my next steps? Win the war. Marry Cassie.
Yep.
Then I'll be excited and happy. Right? Like that. Like he's thinking about strategy for happy marriage life. And it's like that's not how that works, dude. I'm sorry.
And that's how the book ends. Everything's good. Like that's what happens.
Cool. Let's get there.
Yeah. So he flies to a abandoned VW bug.
He just flies to a car, sits in it, turns on the radio. The radio says, war is bad.
Yeah. Arbron had said go alone, so naturally Jake brought all of his friends as fleas on his body.
Never invite Jake to a party.
No. He gets into the car, he turns the keys in the ignition, and immediately gets sucked down into the ground.
Yep.
Sucked down into the taxon hole, where he is greeted by a thousand taxons.
Yeah.
They're all clacking and hissing.
Like, and I love this speech. This is the speech that's in the inside cover.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake in the VW, he gets out of the bug. He steps up to this kind of like dirt podium. He knows that they're listening, but that they don't quite understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just like turns into a snake.
Yes,
Right.
he morphs. He shows them a couple different morphs. He does the tiger, dragonfly, and then he formed a picture of the anaconda in his mind. The changes began. I saw my skin harden, dry out, crack into thousands of interlocked scales. My eyes moved around my head, but remained forward focused. My face bulged out, stretched out and out. My arms were shriveling at a shocking pace. I was a weird creature, half snake, half human, standing erect but armless. Then my legs went weak and I dropped flat on my belly before I could fall. My legs melted into the tail that was stretching out and out and out from my elongated spine. I was 10 feet long and still growing, longer and longer without anything. Without thinking, I shortened the muscles on the side of my body and brought my length up to form a loose coil. The anaconda's senses replaced my own. So he morphs.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like, I love the crowd descriptions. It's like, the crowd liked that. They murmured in true taxon form, hissing and spitting and writhing. Impossible not to feel like I was sitting on some gigantic piece of rotting meat surrounded by huge maggots. Like, the taxons that are sitting there just like gyrating, going... Because they don't clap, right?
Yep. So good.
Yeah, like why would they clap? Like they're weird worms. They would hiss and gyrate.
Like we should have.
They could clack their little crab claws.
Yeah, well, maybe that's like a great offense. Maybe you just
like true.
Yeah, you don't know what they do.
I'm
right?
thinking like a hipster kind of snapping instead of
oh,
clapping.
like a beatnik, like end of a poem
Yes.
kind of. Yeah, man.
In taxon culture, that's a slur. Stop.
So yeah, and so like at the end of the speech, I think. Well, okay, so here's the speech, right? So he says, "My name is Jake. I'm the leader of the Animorphs. As Arbran has told you, we have killed many taxons using the morphine power. We are not the enemies of the taxons. We are the enemies of the Yeark, and we have killed many Yearks.
They like that, okay?
And the Andalites are our friends."
Yeah, right. Rachel said in private thought speak.
The Andalites, they're coming, and there will be a great battle. The Andalites may win, the Yearks may win. If we and the Andalites win, you'll be given a choice: to remain as you are, or to change, to find a new form, and to live in peace and contentment here, in a special place, a homeland for the taxons. For taxons who are no longer hunted by the desperate hunger, no longer prey to the Yearks.
I was lying, at least in part.
Right, like he's given a political speech.
Yes.
Right, because he's lying his ass off.
Yeah, he's basically saying if you vote for this guy, $2,000 checks will be coming your way.
$2,000 checks will come, and we'll forgive student debt, and healthcare will be cheap and affordable. And it's like, no, dude, we know you're lying.
Yep.
But these, but the thing credit is like taxons are stupid.
Yes.
They don't know. They don't know that Jake is lying.
Mm-hmm.
And so they like all these answers, right? And
we can defeat the Yearks if you join us. Animorph, Andalite, and Taxon together, we can win. The Taxons didn't cheer exactly, but they did send up a creepy whistling sound that reverberated around the chamber.
Woo! I love it. I love the reactions.
These red flags don't. These red flags won't stop me. I can't see color.
That's right. They just they hear the cool thing and whistle. Just like the regular American voter, man.
Oh, shots fired.
Boom.
Oh, boy. And that's when all the taxons run away. And Arbran says, well, they've agreed for now. They will follow my direction for now. Okay, I guess we should get down to specifics, I said. The pool ship is here on Earth, on the surface. It's there to feed the Yearks until they get finished. Why don't you ask your friends to demorph? I'm sure they would be more comfortable. So Arbran knew.
But Arbron's lived a long time. He's at least 40 years old at this point.
Yes. And we get our next little visitor. Tom shows up.
Tom. I wasn't expecting this either.
At all?
Not at all.
Yeah, I heard footsteps and peered into the darkness of an access tunnel. Well, good evening, everyone. It's an awfully pretty night to spend it all in a filthy taxon tunnel. I knew the voice. I heard it every day of my life. My brother, Tom.
And like he still has the like shitty older brother affectations. Right?
Yes.
Like that hasn't changed somehow.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, little bro, what's going on? And then like gives him a noogie. Right?
What's up, you're a killer, you little bitch? So Tom shows up and he gives them his spiel. He's like, look, I don't like any of you. I don't like Visser 3. I want to lead this shit. Here's the thing. I'll give you the access codes. I'll get you onto the pool ship. I'll give you everything you need. All you gotta do, let me and 100 of my best friends take the morphing cube and the blade ship, and we'll go our own way. We'll do our own thing.
This is a book about deals.
Yeah. What Animorphs
means-
53, The Art of the Deal.
Right, kind of, yeah. Like this is a book about what it means to make a deal with somebody and how you shouldn't trust anybody. Well, how you should trust people's motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Taxon's motivations are honest because they really don't like eating each other, I think. And
Yes.
I think they think that too. But like the motivation for Tom is different. So why is it different? Why should immediately Tom and Tom's Yearn motivation be suspect?
Because he's an evil fucker.
Okay, yeah, but like why? Like he shows up and he like dunks on Jake and calls them stupid idiots.
Right.
You doofuses. What are you doing here? Right? Like what is he going after?
His own, like, we know Yearns go after their own self-interest. Amanda, what do you think of Tom here?
Tom's Yearn wants.
We should say Tom's Yearn because Jake makes that distinction a lot. He's like, you're not my fucking brother.
Right.
You're the Yearn
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, Tom's Yearn wants to basically be his own Yearn empire. He wants to be able to take everything that would make him self-sufficient and leave. Like, he's not... I mean, different from the Taxons, he's not asking for, relief from some terrible life. He's asking for relief from being killed by Visser 1.
Yeah, a bad boss.
Yeah, he even says, "Oh, it's office politics. You don't want to hear about it." Right? Like
I want something else. I want Visser 1 dead. I want the Council of 13 off my back. I want to lose the whole empire. They're prisoners of their own tired old thinking. They can't see the future. We're a parasitic species. They can't see past that. We have this huge vulnerability of reliance on Kandrona race, but permanently morphed, we won't need Kandrona race. And we won't be parasites anymore. We can achieve a greater destiny.
See, like, honestly, Tom is 1 inch away from saying the word KPI. You know what KPI is?
No.
Key Performance Indicator. It's fucking corporate. He's an inch away from corpo speak in this book. And I kind of love it because it brings back the fucking, like, business villain.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what Tom is.
Yeah.
Visser 3 is not the business villain. He's the Captain Planet, I'm going to smash some shit villain.
Yeah.
Both are cool.
He says, Visser 1 is only capable of piling brute force on top of brute force. He's insane, you know. You can't rely on him. You can't hope for career advancement to rise as you should. I should be a sub-Visser by now, and in the small numbers. What I've done on this planet, I've been carrying him for the last 3 years. But as long as he stopped himself, forced a hard smile, office politics. You don't want to hear about it.
Dick Jones has been riding Bob Morton's ass, been taking credit for Bob Morton's shit.
You just fucked with the wrong guy, buddy boy.
That's right.
I used to call the old man names. Iron Butt, Boner. Once I even called him asshole. There was always respect. Don't make me quote the entire movie RoboCop because I can do it. And I would love to.
Amanda, how do you feel about this? How are you doing?
I'm fine.
She checked out completely.
No, I'm fine. I have not seen. I can't say I've seen RoboCop since it came out. So
okay, so
I'm
we have
trying to
6
remember.
movies that you need to watch.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. RRR, Nothing But Trouble, Anaconda, RoboCop.
Okay, so we're at 5.
1987 RoboCop, not that 2014 bullshit.
Okay, we're at 5 movies. Yeah. In order to fully understand the answer.
We gave you the clues, Mr. Police. It was 5 movies.
Okay, so what happens next? Okay, so they get this deal. Jake is fucking like not buying it. He's angry at Tom.
Yes.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And they fly out and they're like, we'll talk about
The
this.
keys to the kingdom, kid. I can give you access codes for every system on the pool ship. If you can take it, brother Jake, you and your free Hork-Bajir and your new Taxon allies, if you can take it, I can tell you how to fly it. Not only that, I have a plan to help you get aboard the pool ship. And by the way, your old friend Visser 1 has temporarily transferred his headquarters to the pool ship. The pool ship in Visser 1, that's game, set, and match. He grinned at me and said, they'll carve your sanctimonious face up on Mount Rushmore, Jake boy. You'll be the savior of the human race.
I like to think that was pulled out of Tom's brain.
Right?
I mean, like, yeah, they're together, right? Like the Yearn is driving, but it's Tom's car.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's the way Tom would speak. Chapter
Jake's flying. He's putting all these pieces in his head, and he's like, okay, yeah, this could work if Tom's Yearn is telling him the truth. Why would Tom's Yearn tell the truth? And then he thinks about the office politics line. He's like, fuck. Visser 3 has only ever fucked up because of the Animorphs. The Animorphs have caused all these trouble. The Animorphs are the reason Tom's Yearn could never rise to the rank that he feels he deserves. So if the Animorphs were dead, Tom's Yearn could rise. And he realizes Tom wants us to die.
And this is great because you can really tell either Kathy Apples or Michael Grant has worked in an office because they're right. It's just like nobody's going to do you any favors.
Right.
They're only looking out for their own self-interest. So you must also look out for your self-interest and depend upon them trying to screw you.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Your boss is not your friend.
Your boss is not your friend. HR is not your friend. Sometimes even your coworkers aren't your friend. Mm-hmm. Talk to them. And like, you know, and so Jake is learning that lesson and realizing he can build a strategy around it. And it's like a shot of lightning hits him. And he immediately says like, oh, there's a solution to this problem.
Yes, I need the chi.
I need the chi. Well, he starts like really kind of, he sees the line.
Yeah.
Which, as we know from before, when you see the line, you'll try to kill your mother, right? Like the line is not necessarily a great moral choice to make. But Jake sees it. He sees the line and he starts referring to all of his friends and troops as chess pieces.
Yes.
And if anyone...
It took my breath away, the perfection of it, the pure ruthless perfection of it. All I had to do was send my friends to die. Cassie was still talking to me, but I didn't hear the words. I had seen the vision. I could see the pure straight line from A to point Z. I said, Marco, find the chi. Find them. Bring Eric to me. How am I going to do that? Marco groused. The chi hideout is in the blast area. I tried, but it's nothing but destruction. You can't even tell where the streets used to be. It's crawling with Yearks, shooting anything that moves. Yeah, I know. Do it anyway, I said. I need the chi. I felt sick inside, high and low at once, exalted, twisted. What chance was there that Marco would succeed? What chance that he would survive? And worse in store for Rachel. I needed Tobias and could not risk losing Axe. Cassie? No. It had to be Rachel. Only she would do it. Could do it. I had a few small changes to make to Tom's plan. The orders came easily, automatically as I dispatched my friends one after the other. Only Rachel remained. Rachel, I have a job for you. I explained what I wanted her to do. You're sure, Jake? She asked solemnly when I had finished. Because if you tell me go, I'll follow your orders. You know what that means. Yeah, Rachel, I know what that means. Still, she hesitated. It won't be the Yearn, Jake. It'll be Tom. It'll be him. I know that, I said. And if it happens, if it comes down that way, I don't have a plan for getting you out. You'd be on your own. That's how I like it.
It's brilliant that it starts this conversation with Rachel. Because Rachel is begging to be a pawn.
Yeah, and she even says, okay then, make sure Cassie doesn't know. You still don't trust her? Rachel said angrily. She loves us both, Rachel, I said. I can't make her part of this. I can't let her know in advance. So, you know, if it happens, it happens. I don't want her spending the rest of her life wondering if she could have stopped it somehow. Rachel said, "Okay, Jake, you're right. And you're right to use me for this. Not exactly something I'm proud of, maybe, but later, if... Don't be blaming yourself, okay?" She angled her eagle's wings to take the wind and flew away. The plan was a fragile thing in my mind. A construct of if-then possibilities of hopes, optimism, and cynicism in equal measure. I would use everyone, put everyone in harm's way, and I knew beyond any doubt, that someone, maybe more than someone I loved, was going to die.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It has to start with Rachel because Jake knows that Rachel wants to die. She does though, doesn't she? Like she wants to go to Valhalla specifically.
Yes.
I think that
because Mr. Northman is there and he's hot.
He's ripped. But I mean, like, you know what I mean though? Like
yes.
Rachel wants to die and she wants to die in a very specific way. And
gloriously with valor.
Right. Exactly. And so she's just waiting for the order to be sent to her death.
Do you think this is that order?
I mean, okay, so...
I'm asking what you think.
Jake hopes that's not the case. I think for himself. Like, this isn't like a I care for my cousin Rachel order. Right. It's more of a, I'm directly sending somebody that I have a relationship with to die. I think
Jake is probably... Sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
I think Jake is probably definitely telling himself that Rachel has always been okay.
Rachel had Sun Tzu on her, her
vision board.
On her vision board when she was 14. I think that maybe she was the right choice for right off the bat for your first noble sacrifice.
Right.
Just laying that one out there. Maybe she was the one that was kind of born to do this. And, hey, yeah, if somebody runs up to you, so like, boy, Chief, I sure would like to be point man. Okay, that'll make me feel less guilty. Go for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the calculus there. Is Jake feels less guilty to send Rachel off on the suicide mission than if anyone else came up to him.
Marco, Tobias.
Right, because they're like, boy, I sure had hopes and dreams, but okay. Rachel's
Marco would use those exact words too.
Yeah, hell, even Cassie was just like, I want to be a doctor. But Rachel's just like, I want to see glory in battle. It's like, okay, fine. Rachel first.
Go see glory in battle. It's great. Have a good time. Kill my brother.
Right. And also keep it in the family.
Yeah. All right, I gotta pee. Hold on.
Again.
I drank a lot.
So as I was also taking a pee, I thought of something.
Okay.
I'm glad we took that break. Is that they're both wrong.
Oh.
Well, it's okay. I just should really emphasize this. Is that if anyone is craving death, they're the last person that should die. Because it's the idea of like, okay, if you're really like looking for value and glory in battle, you haven't understood life yet. Sorry, you're not done yet,
yeah.
Right? Like, hey, Rachel, hey, I know that you want to die really badly. Why? What are you trying? Like, glory, and valor are stupid reasons, and you really need to figure out your feelings with, say, Tobias,
right?
With your feelings with your life in general,
your family,
right?
On the other hand, if someone wants to die in glorious battle, they are going to make sure that they do not die unless it is something that they feel, is worth it.
No, I think Rachel would die just to be really cool. Like, I think she would die if it looked really good. Like, honestly, like she'd be in the front lines, and we'll get to the front lines here soon. Mm-hmm. But she wants to die, and so me with like my brain of not 16-year-old,
powerful adult brain.
Yeah, I wouldn't say powerful, right? We have dulled it with Al Cool. But like the point being here is like, okay, Rachel, why do you really want to die? Stop it.
Yes, we can say that because we know these characters. We care about them.
Okay, but the thing is, Jake is exploiting that in Rachel. Yeah. Because Jake knows that Rachel will do the death charge.
Yes.
Whereas the other ones might not. They might realize how cool life is and stop that.
Cassie's already realized how cool life is. She's like, why don't we talk about this in a year?
Right. Marco, hey, the family's back together.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the stepmom.
Hey, what's on TV? We should watch that.
Right. The ones that are wanting to die, which are Rachel, Tobias, and Axe, are wanting to die because they want life to be done. Mm-hmm. And so okay, yes, we can trust that they would nobly sacrifice themselves, but also shit, son. No, they haven't finished it yet. And so that's the sadness.
I mean, Jake is doing a lot of taking advantage of people's innate tendencies. So
Jake's one of Jake's character points, right? Like if we have the D&D character sheet, the thing that's listed on there is takes advantage of people.
Yeah.
And what makes him a leader, right, is that sometimes you take advantage of people's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And on Rachel's character sheet is will die. And if you have that mission of wants to die, then
Nate, have you read the last Animorphs book yet?
No.
Okay.
I've read the last part of this book, and boy, I can see trajectories. But I'm good at vectors, and you can see where this is going. So let's move on. Let's actually get there.
Yeah.
So
Marco does get Eric, tracks him down. It was really hard. Jake doesn't care how.
He threw a frisbee.
He went. He shook his keys and Eric came running.
Oh my god!
Got your ass.
I miss my dog.
Yeah, it made me a little sad.
Oh god!
But that's okay though, because unlike Nepal, Eric kind of sucks.
Okay, yes, thank you. I was going to say, unlike Nepal, Eric's alive.
Been alive for too long, we'll say. And so he finds Eric and brings Eric to the camp, and Eric's just like, okay, what?
Yeah. He's like, Eric, we need your help. Always glad to help within the limits of my programming, he answered cautiously. We're taking the pool ship, I said. He hesitated, thought that over. I don't see how I'm going to be able to help you. We don't have a lot of data on the pool ship. Nothing you don't already know. It's not information we need. We need your skills. We need your active participation. We need you there. And that's when he's like, oh, fuck.
No, I love this next part. And I'm going to read this because I have only this part highlighted.
No, I'll read it. His eyes grew dark. A holographic but very real seeming reaction. I can't do that, Jake. We both know there'll be fighting. I can't be part of that.
I love that his eyes went dark. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, it's the dark part of his soul because he knows what he did in that tower.
Yes.
He is very aware and will never forget.
Right. His eyes went dark because he remembered the dark parts of his soul he doesn't want to think about.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I'm not doing that, Jake, again. We made that clear.
Yes.
And
Jake doesn't care. He says, I took a deep breath, not wanting to say what I was about to say. Here's the thing, Eric. I know what you can and can't do, so I'm going to use that to force your hand. I'm sorry, but we're down to it now. We're right down to it. That's when he pulls out Chapman, who's hogtied, and he says, you're going to help me, or Axe is going to gut this vice principal.
Chapman has had a rough life.
Yeah.
Oh, he's had such a rough life.
He sold out the entire human race. This whole thing is his fault.
Sure, yeah. He's been kidnapped on a spaceship, kidnapped in a house.
Yep.
He's had his
Tortured.
house tortured. He has had his house crushed. He's been denied promotions. And now he's like hogtied in front of these teenagers saying, I'm going to kill this guy. If he's being used as a bargaining chip for a robot. Just bring it back to Chapman a little bit.
This is one of the reasons I was so excited about talking about this book, because, oh God.
Because of Chapman?
No.
Hedrick Chapman?
This scenario, like... He's forcing the trolley problem on a sentient AI.
Right. Yeah, he is a robot. He is an artificial intelligence. He does not have a soul, and this book is not trying to make that argument. This is not... I think that Eric does not dream of electric sheep. I think he just turns off.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Jake knows that it's just programming.
Yes.
There's an algorithm there to trick.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to kill this guy if you don't follow him with our plan, since it's effectively like you're killing him. And that's a strong enough argument for Eric the Chi.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, what's their relationship like anyways?
Eric was a helper. Just like, oh, here's information you need.
Was Eric a Roomba, though, to Jake, to the crew?
I mean...
To Jake, yeah.
Yeah.
To Jake,
Like,
he was information. He never cared about Eric King as... It was Eric King, right?
Yeah, Eric King.
And Mr. King.
Mr. King.
Yeah, he never cared about Eric King as a fellow student. He only ever cared about what the Chi could do for him.
I don't know about only ever, but I think now Jake is going to use them however.
Like, he doesn't care about how much what Eric previously did for them has permanently scarred him for the rest of his immortal life. Like,
right.
Like, he doesn't care at all. He just cares about the mission.
Well, here's the dark thing I think that's being revealed here is, okay, Eric has been captured and he's about to be executed by the Yearks. Would the Animorphs help?
No,
because
not
say
anymore.
he's fine.
They would have in the past, but not anymore.
Well, would they have in the past even? Like, I'm thinking about,
they've like,
okay, like name the specific yay and no votes in this like voting situation for the Animorphs, right? So it'd be Jake.
Marco would say absolutely save him.
Really? No, I'd say Marco would just be saying no because he's a robot. Rachel would say no because he's a robot. Oh, Cassie would say yes because everything that talks is alive. And
I would say that Marco would want to save Eric because I think he considers Eric a friend.
Look, they've saved the Chi before.
He might be comfortable enough to say, well, I mean, he has absolutely survived worse. So
if it were just Eric King being killed, I don't think they would vote to save them. But in the previous book with the Pemelite ship, they voted to stop the Yearks from getting that technological advance.
That's not because they liked Eric so much.
No. I'm saying Eric to them can go. Like, he's dead. Whatever. But if it means giving the Yearks a tactical advantage, yes, they would save Eric because they did it before.
I think what's happening here reveals a secret among all of them, except for maybe Cassie. But like we can make arguments for who and what they would feel. But like ultimately, the group Animorphs don't really think of the Chi as people.
Right.
They're disposable. And well, I mean, hey, this illustrates it. Like, are they saying has anyone here said no? This is wrong.
No.
And
no. Like they're cool with it.
I mean, Jake even assumes Cassie's going to have a problem with it.
Yeah, I shot a challenge to defensive look at Cassie. Any comment? No. I glared at my friends, all of whom were looking somber. Eric had been with us, an ally, a friend for so long. Does anyone have anything to say? No one did.
Yeah, and so it's like, no, he's just a robot. You know, yeah. In this Blade Runner situation, there's like, it's this fucking tool. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't think they're being that flippant, or I don't think that is necessarily Kathy Apples.
We don't know that about the other Animorphs. We know that about Jake.
Yeah.
And Jake is totally being flippant. I don't know if the others are necessarily being flippant. I'm sure they feel at least uncomfortable about the situation. But
it's a turn towards darkness for Jake. Like,
sure, he's he's tricking a friend. It is like when Rom has to whip Bheem in order to achieve his goals.
Oh God, that was such a hard scene to watch.
In RRR, I know, right? But like, I think the thing is the difference between those two scenes is that Rom was a friend to Bheem when he was whipping him, whereas I think Jake is not a friend to Eric.
And I would agree. And then we get to see Jake go even further down the path of heartless fuckery.
Where does he go?
So James shows up. He says, James, we need all your people. As you know, we're going after the pool ship. Yes, I know. It's going to be dangerous as it gets, and I have a very tough assignment for you. Okay, well, you know I'm in, but I'll need to talk to the others and see how they feel. I think some of them will want to sit this one out. I mean, after losing Ray, Jake, some of the young ones, some of them are having James. We didn't give them morphing power so they could have fun flying around. This is when we need them. All of them. You understand? You've taken on the role as their leader, so lead. I want them all. Every last one. Jake, some of these kids, they're all their families have, They're still just starting to deal with Ray's death. It's not like we haven't fought. Look, if we lose this battle, it's over. You understand me? I raise my voice to be heard by everyone. If we lose, it's over. This is the battle. This is the last stand. We lose, and here's what happens. The Yeark fleet fights the Andalite fleet. If the Yearks win, they'll be free to enslave every living human and kill the ones they don't want. If the Andalites win, there's a very good chance they'll sterilize Earth, kill everything in order to end the Yeark menace once and for all. So, you don't like me telling you what to do? You don't like your job? You don't like me, period? I don't really care. Before this night is over, the casualties will be piled high, and some of you standing here right now will be dead, and I don't care because we are going to win. Is that clear? We're taking the pool ship, and before this night is over, we'll have Visser 1 right here. I held up my tight clenched fist. I was ranting. I was trembling. I'd never done this before, never put myself forward as some kind of Napoleon wannabe. I felt like a jerk, like some kind of nut. My friends must have thought I'd lost my mind, but no one said so. No one but Marco. You're turning into Rachel, he frowned. Where is she, anyway?
I don't like the insult of you're turning into Rachel. I think Rachel's great.
Rachel can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Marco's take on Rachel.
Yeah, sure. I think the key line here is Jake, some of these kids.
Yeah.
Which is
kids.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't done the thing you've done, which is grow up in war.
Right.
They're actually children. And it highlights the gap here of they're still thinking that they're gonna go home and play video games after this. They're not.
Everyone but Ray.
Okay, yeah, right. They're now learning that.
Yeah.
And they're going through that process. That some of them aren't gonna go home and play video games. Some of them are gonna die.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
Jake is not. He's not remembering how hard things hit them right at the start either.
Right. Yeah, Jake's not remembering that death is scary.
Right.
and maybe kids don't want to deal or think about that. And they're not very good soldiers in that respect.
Yes.
And James knows that he has enough power to pressure them into fighting. And James is saying, I don't want to do this because if I do, then they'll have to actually face that reality that they're dead. And Jake says, do it anyways.
Correct.
Because that's what Wars did. That's
this is the last stand. This is for everything.
Well,
this is it.
It's what generals do, right? If you the purpose of going to boot camp and then being yelled at by a general is to really hammer home the idea that if we say go die, you do it.
You go die.
You just go run forward into a bullet.
Right.
That's what being a good soldier is. And Jake has internalized so much that he's upset when somebody kind of questions it.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at with Jake. And James isn't there yet because he has empathy for his troops, which are 8-year-olds, 8 to 13-year-olds, right? 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's messed up, but also it's not you get why Jake's doing it. Because Jake is thinking about numbers at this point. He's not thinking about people. And so he's trying to say, James, this is about numbers, not people, please.
Yes.
And so that's where we're at.
And that's when he makes Axe call the Andalites and tell them what's going on.
Yeah, hey, Axe, lie to your Andalite commanders. Axe is not uncomfortable with that, but he knows that I'll do it. Right? Jake says, I'll know that Axe will follow my orders because he's already, he's already defied the Andalite leadership before, and I know he'll do it again. Which, honestly, good. Yeah,
Fuck the Andalites.
I'm pro lying to assholes. And I think that, the Andalites have proven themselves to be assholes in this fight.
Time and time again.
So just just lie to him. Just say like, oh yeah, no, hey, we did it. Come on down.
Yeah, so he tells Axe to do that. He goes and visits General Doubledown, and General Doubledown's like, I watched a Yearn crawl out of a bullet hole. This shit's wild. All my people, they're good.
Tyler, you didn't do that in the voice.
Oh, sorry. I watched a Yearn crawl out of a bullet hole. All my guys, they're good. I can't. Well, I can't.
Oh,
We warned him once, gave him a direct order, and then the MP shot him. That must have been tough, I'd said. The MP aimed for a leg shot, but the private slipped. Bullet caught him in the head. The general held out an empty bottle and showed it to me. The thing crawled out of the man's head. Crawled out through the bullet hole.
we found out that boy ain't right.
So
Yeah.
General Doubleday and his people are down. He's like, all right, here's what I need you to do. We're going to do it at this time. General Doubleday's like, all right. I'm just going to talk like Hank Hill forever.
It's great, right? Talk about propane and drinking an alley. That seems okay.
My two favorite things.
Were people actually down on Hank Hill? Because that seems like an okay life.
No, Hank Hill's good.
Yeah. Okay. I should watch All the King of the Hill. Okay, so six things to watch. Here we go.
Okay. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Okay.
RRR.
Okay.
Nothing but trouble.
Okay.
Anaconda.
Okay.
RoboCop.
Okay.
Every season of King of the Hill.
Okay, great.
That's your homework, listeners. And if you've already watched all this, you're ahead of the curve. You're like me and Nate.
Yeah, you've done your homework already.
You are the Chuck Mangione of Anamorphin Time.
I have
Thank
never
you.
done homework in my life.
Nor should you start. Honestly, you work with Marco. You get a free pass, Amanda.
That's right. You cheat. You just read off of our homework.
In middle school, a boy cheated off of my homework and he failed while I
Hell
still got
yeah.
an A. I do not know how.
Have you ever cheated on like a homework assignment just to lighten the mood a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So in 6th grade, I cheated on a spelling test. I felt so bad that I crossed out all of the answers and I got a 0.
Oh, man.
Oh man, that guilt.
Yeah, right? I
Were
should
you raised Catholic?
No, that was just all me, baby.
That was pure Nate.
It was pure Nate. And I was like, looking back, I'm like, I should have cheated. Spelling tests are stupid. Let's move on.
Let's move on. So, they've got the soldiers.
They got the soldiers, and so like the plan is under operation, right?
Yes.
We're doing the pre-sneak.
Yes.
And Tom has gone into a transport truck. He's driving this transport truck. The Harbinger guards stop him before he gets to the pool ship, and they're like, "Hey, listen, we're doing elevated security checks for Andalite bandits."
Mm-hmm.
And Tom says, "Good. I fucking hate it when security's lax and pieces of shit.
Yeah.
You idiots."
I hate casual security. Fucking check my orifices, all of them. I'm spreading it all. I'm going Goatse.
That's right. Put a finger in there. I
Oh
don't
hell
care.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't Tom head of security?
He was. He loves this shit.
And Harpagers, they wear rings. Look for the ring. And so
We have 7 things we want you to watch.
no, don't.
Don't watch that one.
We have 6 things and 1 forbidden thing.
One very cursed, popular, infamous thing. Man, how does it feel to be the guy who spread his asshole once and now he's the king of the internet?
Here's how I knew that I was old. Was that I saw the Twitter thread of Zoomers don't know about Goatse? Because they don't. They don't. If you're born,
You showed me Goatse.
good.
You.
That's right.
I feel like that man passed away.
he definitely had easier shits.
Easier? No, that man was shitting waffles.
It just falls out.
Yeah.
It just drops out of him.
He makes pancakes from his booty hole.
Yeah, easy.
His name is Kirk Johnson.
You know it?
That's not a no.
No, it is.
we
I've
don't-
heard this. There's an article about him.
We don't know his name.
Oh,
His-
we know his name.
No, there's an article about him. We can't get into Goatse.
God,
The
that's
9-hour episode of Anamorphin Time.
if there was an R in Goatse, the 4th R in RR would be Goatse. Okay. So we're sneaking into the bullship. Tom says, search my butthole. I don't care. And the Hork-Bajor guards do, and they see
They're like, oh, we got a bunch of bugs and one non-life form. And Tom's like, I count 2 Hork-Bajors and 1 little girl. That's 3. Bye.
Bye. And it's like, what, you want to make me mad? I'm head of the security, bitch. And then he drives into the Yearn pool. Without a problem. They get in.
Yeah, Jake morphs flee. They all hide on Cassie, or so we think. We know Cassie's not a human life form. We don't need to do this subterfuge.
Please read the book too.
yeah. If you haven't read these books, this is a banger.
Who are you? Okay, honestly, if you haven't read the books and you're listening, who are you? Please let us know.
No, there are some people out there who don't read the books and just listen to us.
That's stupid.
No, that's not stupid. Like,
I hate you.
Like, no, don't hate them. They're great.
No, stop listening. Watch all the things we mentioned and also read all the Animorphs.
Yeah. If you want the final episodes, you better watch all 7 of those things and read all the books. No. Fine. People enjoy whatever you want. Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Spread your asshole.
What does matter is that we have gotten into the pool ship.
Yes.
We're inside the enemy's lair, and wouldn't you know it? Waiting for Tom. Is the head cheese, the man in charge,
the big boy, our boy,
not the boy.
No, the boy is dead.
Do not say head cheese, please.
He's the big cheese. He's the head cheese.
That's one of those examples of things that mean 2 different things despite being the same words.
Visser 3.
Visser 3.
And like he's in top form. Let me tell you right now. So this truck pulls in. And he's like, "What do you got going on in here?" Well, let's read the lines, shall we?
What have we here? One of the Animorphs, Visser. My people captured her and questioned her forcefully. So I see. Congratulations. One of the so-called Animorphs. This one would be Cassie. Yes. Now I could see him. A mosaic of him in my compound eyes. He loomed close, leering down with his mouthless Andalite's face, stalk eyes widening out. Suddenly his tail whipped around and delivered a slapping blow. Fast, so fast that even my fly reflexes would not have saved me. But of course the blow never reached me. He was stopped by the force field that overlapped the hologram, just as Tom's torturing blows had been. I would kill her myself, Visser 1 graded. The trouble these creatures have caused me.
Perhaps not yet, Visser.
Tom demurred.
They may still be useful as bait. Why not hold her and hand her over to some worthy, loyal Yearn as a host body?
They are hard to hold on to, Visser 1 said. If you ever appear to be thinking of morphing, you'll die, Animorph. Of course, you're likely to die either way. Cassie said nothing. But pleasure can wait, Visser 1 said. Report what you have learned.
I love that he pretends not to know Cassie's name.
Yes.
Right? Like, because he knows.
He knows all their names.
He has the macgruber book where he writes down all the Animorph names and crosses them out fiercely.
KFD8987. KFD8987.
Right?
I'd be willing to bet he knows what they ate for breakfast.
Right.
Before when they had homes.
Cassie the wolf, she eats toast because she's a vegetarian and because like he has that fact sheet now.
Yes.
Yeah, and he probably has their social security numbers that he has memorized for absolutely no reason.
That's right. He has like a collection of raccoons, so if Cassie shows up, he can torture the raccoons in front of her. Like it's one of those things where like that he's pretending to be cool about it.
Yes.
He's like, oh, this Cassie, you say?
Yes.
Well, I want to fucking murder her.
Oh, is this Kathy?
Right. Like, he is pretending. He hates.
There's no way Visser 3 is cool. He doesn't play anything cool.
Okay, so let's go back to the previous book. He remembers what they did. He didn't even get the cool speech of, well, Animorphs. He's like, fuck! I had to leave. He's so pissed about that. Okay, so but here's the other thing too. Is since the previous book, he knows that they're good, they're not just a bunch of collection of like Andalite bandits anymore. They're a guerrilla force that are fucking your shit up, and you should really consider them to be a threat.
Yes,
The council was almost definitely like super pissed.
Yeah. No, totally right. Like he honestly is probably not going to be Visser 1 for long after the pool incident.
Yes,
he's just kind of like holding on to what he can for now. And then
they're definitely calling it the pool incident too.
Right. Oh yeah. No, there's that report, and so like
he's on a pip.
Yep, totally. And in comes one of the bandits. He's just like, "Oh, Cassie, huh?" He knows that this is probably a ruse, right? Like, oh, they're trying to get in. They're trying to do something because they always try to do something because they suck. And in comes the Taxon, this Taxon, right?
Yes.
This traitorous Taxon.
Yes.
He comes in, he blumbers in, and he stands up straight. He kind of shivers and says,
I believe this is a very special Taxon, Visser. You may choose to hear what he has to say. Moments later, the Taxon, accompanied by Hork-Bajir guards, shuffled and writhed into the room. He was 100 great worms in my compound eyes, but the colors were different. I saw the red jelly eyes as almost psychedelic violet. Well, the Visser 1 demanded, I'm not a patient, Yearn. Explain the great mystery here. Tom proceeded to explain his penetration of the Taxon alliance with the Animorphs. The Taxon, straining to form a coherent speech with its inadequate mouthparts, confirmed the tale. So Tom sells them out immediately. Right. He's like, actually, these are the Animorphs. I infiltrated them because I'm a genius. I did all this. So they were going to try to take the pool ship, and I saved you. And Visser 3's like, what? Those idiots. Taxon, eat the Animorph.
And the Taxon, without hesitation, he goes, blah, 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 blah.
Eats the fuck out of Cassie.
Right. Starts head first, and then goes all the way down.
Yes.
Cassie is being horrifically gored.
Yeah.
and is being eaten.
Yes.
However, dear reader, we know that Cassie is not being eaten.
No, it is not.
In fact,
it was Eric King projecting a hologram. Projecting several holograms.
Okay.
Something I felt was very cool is that the Taxon eyes apparently reflect ultraviolet light, similar to, flowers.
Yeah. But so it's Eric King. He's projecting gore and viscera. I picture like a tiny, singular, innocent dog tear coming down his face when he's projecting this horror show of Cassie being eaten.
The Taxon did not hesitate. It reared up, opened its lamprey mouth, and slammed itself greedily down, teeth bared. No, Cassie cried. No! The Taxon's mouth ripped Cassie apart, chewed arms and legs, spilled organs out onto the deck of the pool ship, and finally lifted off her head in one fatal bite. The voice, really very like Cassie's, screamed, cried, begged for mercy. Tom waved goodbye. If you are there by some chance, little brother Jake, bye-bye.
So it's good that they're going to get married. I think that, it's important to know what it's like for your fiance to scream as they're being eaten alive.
Yes.
it's good for a healthy relationship. Yeah.
But our plan, the
plan works.
The Cassie is Eric projecting holograms. The Taxon is Tobias.
Yeah.
So everybody's in on this. Like, Jake's got the upper hand here.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes them believe that Tom had them all killed.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they want.
It sounds like even Tom believes that they have all been killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom's Yearn would be left in command of the heavily armed and very fast blade ship, almost surely the hiding place for the morphing cube. Tom's Yearn would take his new command in zero space to reemerge far, far away with a hardcore of loyal followers and the power to morph. He wouldn't have to stay behind to face likely arrival of the Andalites. He would be safe and in control. It was a neat plan. If I had trusted him, I'd be dead, along with all my friends. So Jake, he's finally outplotting these fuckers.
Well, okay, I wouldn't say finally. He's always outplotted these fuckers. Every plan has worked.
With diminishing returns, I'd say.
With accident or on purpose. And but at the same time, he knows that he has cornered Visser 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's over for this. The pool ship is going to be captured.
Yes.
If the pool ship isn't captured, it's going to be blown up by the blade ship.
Mm-hmm.
Visser 3's done.
Yeah.
There's just no escape for this guy.
My brother left the bridge of the pool ship. he would be taken by Bugfighter up to the Blade ship in orbit. The pool ship lifted off, a slight vibration being the only evidence, off the Earth to the safety of the skies, or so Visser 1 believed. 5 Animorphs, 12 free Hork-Bajir, and 1 Chi were now aboard the pool ship, unsuspected. The plan was on track. Doing good, huh, Jake? Rachel said, her thought-speak voice already fading with distance. I couldn't answer.
Yeah. So this is kind of where the plan kicks into motion. I think we get action scenes.
Yes.
And like, you know, the action scenes I tend to gloss over for the most part unless they have some sort of narrative significance. I don't think these do so much. Like, so what happens? What happens now that they've snuck upon the Blade ship, the pool ship, and it is now lifted into orbit?
We're here in chapter 20, and
before that, I think it's, at least when I was a kid, this was like the first indication of where kind of that Rachel was. Because they never say where he told Rachel to go.
And people are always asking, where's Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they keep... Yeah, exactly. They keep asking, where's Rachel? By the way, where's Rachel? I still haven't seen Rachel. And he just keeps saying, well, I mean, she's fine.
It's a surprise.
I'm sure she's okay. And the less
she's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Jake was sure everything's okay.
And when she's out of thought speak range and can't even like communicate, and it's like the first indication of like, he sent her like really far.
Yeah. Rachel is out of the picture right now, and
like that horror. Is the first horror to a much bigger horror that follows, and that Visser 3 kills every single auxiliary Animorph one by one.
So here's the distraction. It's going to be very distracting.
Hey, don't think about Rachel. Instead, watch all these new Animorphs fry to death one by one.
So General Double Down and the the auxiliary Andalite forces have begun their good, cool march of
the distraction.
Yeah. They've begun to light brigade themselves towards the pool ship, and Visser 3 sees that there's like animals among these troops, and he's like, aha, yes, finally, Animorphs, great. Can I have a cool laser Dracon beam to torture them? And one of the Hork-Bajir says, yes, my Visser. And they do that. So they pick the rhinoceros Colette, let's say, and blast the rhinoceros's hind legs off, and he's like, aha, this is fun.
Yes,
excellent.
And meanwhile, Jake has sent Axe, Marco, and the rest to go disable engineering to strand the pool ship.
Right. But Visser 3 doesn't care. He even hears a report. Hork-Bajir comes in and is like, sir, we heard reports of an animal on ship. And Visser 3 is like, an animal? Wait, hold on. There's a cool looking gorilla there. Zap.
Yeah, it's awful. They would grow warmer and warmer as the diluted Dracon energy heated them up. Hotter till some began to pass out. Others would go crazy as their brains fried. And then the men who's already dead and those who still clung to life would burn.
Yeah, because I guess you can change the power of a Dracon beam in order just to like microwave them a little bit.
It's awful. Like he's frying them one by one, and he makes sure to say, record this. I want to watch it later.
Yeah.
Like, that is some good villain-ass shit.
Tyler, name all of the auxiliary Animorphs.
James.
Okay.
Colette.
Okay.
Ray.
Rip Ray.
Tawan.
Okay. Tawan, how's Tawan doing?
Good. Timmy.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Amanda, you got any auxiliary Animorphs you want to name?
No, I don't want to name any of them.
Yeah, if we give them names, we have to mourn them.
His name was Brian Paulson.
That's right. That's kind of the point, I think. Like, is that like, their team, like their situation is identical, right? Like the Animorphs and the auxiliary Animorphs, they had a call to action and they took it. One of these group did not have a good time. In fact, they're being tortured one by one until all of them have died.
Yep.
We don't see Colette die? Well, was Colette like the rhino?
I don't remember.
Well, you don't remember, do you? Right?
Visser 3 says this. How long I have waited for this moment. The bandits out in the open, targeted on screen, unable to escape. Permission to fire the Dracon cannon? No. Cancel wide dispersion, the Visser ordered. I want to see them burn one by one. Move us in. Use narrow beam. Forget the human soldiers, they're irrelevant. Rid me of these animorphs, one by one. Close up. Maximum magnification. Let me see them die. I couldn't be patient any longer. Axe, Marco, what is keeping you? I cried. Had a fight, Marco answered. I could hear the pain in his thoughts. Weak voice. Visser, casualties in engineering, a Hork-Bajir voice cried. What is it, another plasma explosion? No, Visser, all engines are nominal. All systems are nominal. We'll find out what's happened down there then, Visser 1 said, sounding petulant rather than concerned. Now target the morphs. Begin firing. Firing, the neutral voice reported. The shot caught the hindquarters of the rhinoceros. For a horrifying moment, the front legs kept running. The creature, a girl named Trisha, toppled forward, dug its horn into the dirt, rolled over, and was dead. Good shot! They burn well, these animorphs! I felt sick inside. I should do something. I should stop this. That was the auxiliary animorphs down there on the ground, dying, burning. No, you have to lead them a bit. Look, you can get to it. Oh, good shot! Marco, I pleaded. Marco, they're killing James's people. Eric's doing his best, so is Axe, Marco answered. How long? A moment's pause while Marco queried the chi and the Andalite. 3 minutes, he said at least. It was a death sentence. 3 minutes. More than enough time for the sharpshooters on the bridge. Too much time. They fired. Look, it's trying to repair itself by demorphing. Get it now. No, fool. There. Yes!
So, Visser 3 is loving it.
He is having so much fun. This is the best day in years for him.
And honestly, this is... It's fun to read.
It's fun to read. It's what all soldiers feel when they're shooting the enemy. Right? I mean, like,
sure.
Visser 3 is not unique.
No.
In this regard, I think. Like,
he is not unique. He is not normal.
Sure.
He's not unique.
Right.
No.
Yes. Both are true. Like it's one of those things where like, shit, son. I mean, like every soldier in war has kind of felt like, well, okay, what am I saying, right? Like I've never shot and killed anyone in a war. I don't know how it'd feel. But
why did you have to add in a war on the end there? Have you shot and killed somebody out of a war?
Yeah, he's killed several like people just in general.
In duels mainly.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Back to the Hamilton stuff.
That's right.
From 4 hours ago.
Yeah. But like the point here is that like the thing I get away from this isn't like whatever. We knew this about Visser 3. This is normal. But it's the thing I take away from this is like, like that's just kind of how war is. You want to see the bad guys punished. And in Visser 3's mind, the bad guys are the Animorphs. And so, hell yeah, fucking roast them. Fucking glass Iraq, like it's bomb, Iran.
Light them up, George. I want cheap gas.
Right. Like, fuck. That's what that is, and hey, also time appropriate too. And it's like, but like watching it from the other side, it's just like, okay, there goes Trisha. And like, shit, the thing I think about is Colette, because she had the backstory of like faking the ski incident. She's done there. She probably, we know now that she has died.
Yeah.
Colette's dead.
Yep.
Ray
is dead.
Ray is dead. James is dead. They're all dead. They're all individually roasted.
They're dead so Visser 3 can laugh at it.
Right. And that's ghoulish. Because that's what war does to a person. You kill people and you laugh.
Yep.
Yeah. And hey, let's get to the next part of this book. So what happens after Jake has seen this horror?
Visser, that appears to be the last of the morphs. Ah, well, all good things must end, Visser 1 said. but it was a good ending. Be sure to save the recorded data. I will wish to play that scene over and over again. Now set Drake on cannon for a wide dispersal. Let's end this game.
Right.
Time to cook our boys in blue.
Right. So what is it, like a battalion of 1,000
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
So they start microwaving this battalion of 1,000, and they start dancing around in cool ways, like ants in a magnifying glass. And Jake, keeps on pressing Marco, like, "Hey, what's going on? Are weapons down?"
Yep.
Finally, they get the weapons down,
Right.
and finally, Visser 3 says, "What's going on down there?"
They're on board. They're here. They're on board. They sacrificed the girl and used her as a Trojan horse. So Visser 3 sends his battalion of Hork-Bajir down to engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Jake flies as a fly on Visser 3's head.
Oh yeah,
I love that little bit.
because they can't see in the middle.
Yeah. The safest place to be is on top of an Andalite's head. They're not looking there.
Yeah, think about it. If a fly buzzed right in between your eyes, right in the bridge of your brows, you can see it. Sure.
So he heads down there. He gets shoved into the Jeffries tubes with Axe and the rest to run away because the Hork-Bajir are just blasting up engineering. Jake finally tells them, because they say, "Where's Rachel? Rachel could tear these fuckers apart. What the hell is happening?" And Jake says, "Rachel's on the Blade ship. She's our contingency plan. She's going to kill Tom.
She's on a special mission."
She's doing her own thing. Rachel's doing Rachel today."
And they do not take this well.
No, they're like, "What the fuck did you do, Jake?"
And so as a reader who doesn't know the larger context of the story, and I'm not lying when I say this, by the way, I haven't read ahead. I assume Rachel is sentenced to death, though, because the way they react to this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that we kind of bring up a couple of times in this 2-year-long podcast.
Fuck.
Where it's just like they've been reading the script a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, why is everyone freaking about Rachel being on the Blade ship? This is a good plan.
I mean, it's a good plan, but it's also a deadly plan.
Dangerous, yes, but they've done deadly many times.
It is I could see the necessity of the plan, but it's not a good idea.
Why is it a guarantee that she'll die? They've gone to space more than a couple times.
Well, look at it like this, Nate.
Okay.
Rachel, badass.
Sure.
Undeniable.
That's right. She will turn into an elephant and stomp on everybody.
Would you say that Rachel is one of the more badass characters you've encountered?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Can she kill 100 Yeerks?
Yeah, she's very powerful. That's not even a joke.
Can she do that as an elephant in a pressurized tube in a vacuum?
No, but she would turn into a bear. Like you see where I'm going with this, though. Where it's like she will fucking go guts on them, and it's like, oh, I killed 100 men. Where, it's not surprising where she would open the door covered in blood and say, "I killed them all." Like that's a Rachel move, and so to have everyone kind of react in the way that she's already dead. It tells me, oh, she's gonna die, but also that how do they know that she's gonna die? I don't think they should know at this point.
They know how absolutely dangerous it is, and they know she's there.
They know it's dangerous, but fuck, Rachel does dangerous shit all the time.
She did do a 9/11.
She did a whole 9/11, and everyone was just like, cool.
Well, they know she's alone in space with literally no help.
As much as I hate, shouldn't say hate, as much as I kind of have changed my feelings about both Firefly and the movie Serenity, Rachel is the character who would just coolly open the doors and be covered in blood and said, "I killed everyone." And to have that not be the case this time around, I don't buy that everyone would disagree. They're all kind of saying, oh, it's a death sentence. It's not. It's not. And to have it be otherwise, okay, so the things I know now, reading
You're coming at it from a rational standpoint also.
Well, no, I mean, I'm coming from it, just what the books have been so far. And, I think that, coming from a rational standpoint, oh, she's 100% dead. They're saying that, no, don't do this. It's certain death. Because they're saying it, I believe it because they've read the script. they know that thematically one of these Animorphs are gonna die. and like to see them react in this way is like, okay, I know as a reader that she's probably gonna die. And so why though? Like I look at the plan and it's like, it's not certain death, no. Like I don't think dangerous.
I don't think it's unreasonable that Tobias and Cassie would be absolutely pissed.
I think it is. I don't buy it. Like, and like, you know, I don't know what happens in the next book, but what I know is like my reaction as a reader, and my reaction as a reader is just like, why are they acting like this? This is something they do a lot. I know as if I'm reading metatextually, oh yeah, she's 100% dead.
Nate's in what we call the bargaining stage.
Well, no, it's like, I'm not trying to say, no, she's dead. She's 100% dead. There's no bargaining here. But what I'm upset about is that they don't believe it either. Because they should believe she'll get out okay, because they always get out okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know now that she won't, but only because the book knows. And that's what's upsetting.
Okay. I think that's a fair criticism.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the opinion that for a kid's book, ages 8 to 12, that's what these books are written for. They need to be a little simpler. Not simpler as in stupid, but as in more straightforward.
Yeah. And this is getting into a tangent, so I swear it's almost done. The draw to Animorphs is that they don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they don't dumb it down and make things simpler for children. These are children's books, but successful young adult novels, lead you towards an answer, but don't tell you the answer. And I think that this book in particular are like, they're telling us an answer that Rachel's dead. And it's just like, I could figure that out myself if I'm a young adult.
And honestly, we're not done yet.
Sure. Let's get that. Okay,
yeah,
let's finish.
I am fully on board with feeling it's in character for them.
I am an Animorphs ending defender, and I always have been, and we're going to talk about it.
Sure.
There's a reason these books made Kathy Apples write a letter to the fans saying, you didn't get the ending.
Okay, well, let's say that there's one more left. There's a countdown.
Yeah.
So let's count down.
Yeah.
We're on chapter 22.
Yeah. So they have to do a death run to get back to the bridge because the blade ship is coming. They know they're sitting ducks. Eric has drained the power from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to get to the bridge so they can hopefully blow up the blade ship because that's the one thing they have. Tom doesn't know that they're in there. Tom doesn't know that they can blast them back, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Let's kill Tom. Let's get rid of Visser 1. Let's do it all in one fell swoop. We got the pool ship. And they do the death run to the bridge. They're just murking controllers left and right. Some run away. Some don't run away. The ones who don't run away, they die.
Mm-hmm.
When they come upon the Yearn pool of 17,386 Yearns.
That's a pretty big number.
That's a very big number.
So as they're running by the Yearn pool, they see this big kind of like lever attached to a wall.
Yeah.
That's attached to a plunger.
Mm-hmm.
And Axe says, hey, I think they use this for cleaning. It releases the Yearn pool into space.
Mm-hmm.
Should
It's basically a big flush button.
Should I flush? Should I hit the flush button? And Jake stops for a second because like he's not a complete monster. He's like, that's a big number. We need a distraction. Flush the Yearns. And I think that's like the time it takes for him to make that decision.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he says Visser 1 had to know we were here on the loose. He had to run for the bridge and not stay to win the fight in engineering. 17,000 living creatures, thinking creatures. How could I give this order, even for victory, even to save Rachel? How could I give this kind of order? They could have stayed home, I thought. No. No one had asked them to come to Earth. Not my fault. Not my fault. Theirs. No more than they deserved. Aliens. Parasites. Subhuman. Flush them, I said.
Just half
War
right.
crimes.
I think he's half right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because Yearns are cartoonishly evil monsters,
Well, even more than that, like, okay, they didn't have a choice. I think that they were gang pressed into this invasion of Earth. However, it's not Jake's fault that they're here.
It's not Jake's fault, but one could argue it is mostly not their fault either, considering that many of them are probably just families of officers.
Sure, it's very sad. But also, if the Native Americans had a big button that said flush all of the colonials into the ocean, I get it.
Yeah, they should press it.
They should press the button.
They should hit it as many times as they could.
You can only flush them once. But the point here is that they've already made this decision many times. Like they've hit the flush button on like the hot
Jake fried a pool of Yeerks in book 6 when he turned into the fly.
He absolutely did.
Right? Yeah, they did the hot tub. They just recently blew up a Yeerk pool.
Yeah, killing humans, Hork-Bajir year taxons, innocent people.
Right.
So I think the decision to deliberately boil them alive and this one are both very different from blowing up the Yeerk pool, because the Yeerk pool was an established base of operations for Earth in general, so it was an active invasion force and not necessarily like the residential, maybe mother pool ship up on board.
Isn't this an invasion force though? Like,
if anything, these are the Yeerks saved by Visser 1 to be the most important Yeerks, right?
Or it's the ones that are just living up in space because they are not the invasion force. Like, they're not the troops on the ground. They are...
Does that make them more innocent though? Like, I don't think it does. I think that puts them in the same pool.
I would say from a warfare standpoint, it would make them civilians.
They're not civilians because they're here to take over someone's brain.
They are parasites,
right? They're here to like forcibly take my brain, your brain, everyone's brain. They're no different than troops.
But also, the pool ship's main pool went through its standard cleaning cycle, draining the gray, sludgy water out into the vacuum of space. The water and the parasite creatures within it froze instantly. The pool became an ice cloud falling away from the slow-moving pool ship. How many, had Axe said? 17,000, and how many? How many Yeerks had felt the sudden stab of terror as they realized what was happening? Frozen now. Crystals. An orbiting graveyard.
Jake is absolutely trying to justify this to himself, though.
They're an invading force that are here to not only take over my brain, but everyone else's brain. And I say brain in the sense of livelihood, of who you are as a person. They're here to take away your land, your means of living. And if anyone comes at taking away my autonomy, my free will, sorry, I'm going to flush you into space. And it doesn't matter how innocent you are. It doesn't matter if you're just here trying to make a living too. Shit. Living is tough. And I'm sorry. Like, just because you also want to live doesn't mean you get to take my life. You go into space and you get crystallized.
But if someone is coming at you, you don't subsequently, take out all of their family and friends.
No, but we're talking in numbers, though. It's not like they're there specifically for Jake. Right. If it was just for Jake, it was like, okay, well, 17,000 for one basketball loving teen. Sure. But it's more than that, right? Because each Yeerk in that pool is there to be assigned to one person. So it's like, okay, well, because again, we're doing like, I hate to say Vulcan math because it's been a very Star Trek heavy episode. But
it is absolutely Vulcan math.
Right. It's like,
I don't like or agree that it was a logical decision to make this a Vulcan thing, but I understand the logic behind the decision. But it was purely a matter of Jake saying, I need a distraction, and deciding that killing 17,000 was a sufficient distraction, and it wasn't necessarily a thought of eliminating enemy combatants. It was, I need a distraction.
I do agree with that point of it being used as a distraction could be like a point of contention, right? Because
and the way,
right, like that's very true. But also,
and Jake just just saying to himself, "It's not my fault they're here. They didn't have to be here. It's Visser 1's fault. It's not my fault. It's Visser 1's fault. I didn't do any of this. This is all Visser 1's fault." Like, he is trying so hard to make himself feel okay with this.
I think Jake is okay. I think that Jake made the right move. I think that they are, because even if they decided to or not, like, yeah, because honestly, the moral weight is on the whoever made the decision to say invade Earth, right? Because like that's we've made this decision so many times. And I think almost we've talked about this so many times. Is that like, I'm sorry, but even if you are. You're a victim. All these Yeerks that got kicked out of space, they're victims, and nobody should celebrate that 100%. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, even if you were gang pressed into it, that doesn't mean that you should make somebody else be a victim, right? Like, at that point, it's just like you flip a coin and whichever victim wins. You know, like it's not something that's cool and good, but it is something that is justified. And every single one of those Yeerks that got, kicked out into space, like it's awful, but every single one of them would have been sent down to occupy someone's brain.
Yeah.
And so it's like, sorry, like, that's just how this happened at this time. The second you stepped onto the ship, the second you became at risk for this.
But boiling them alive in book 6, that was needlessly malicious.
No. I'm sorry.
I would say that was incredibly cruel. He could have done anything to.
Yeah, he could have drained the pool and they could have died that way. Like, but either way, they needed to die. I'm sorry.
It's easy because these are cartoonishly evil brain slugs.
They're not though. Like, so let's agree with the point that they're not all cartoonishly evil. There's a Yeerk peace movement. There's some that are saying like, no, we disagree with this approach. Still. There are humans that also just disagree with having their brains taken over. Like no life is greater than another life. But does that mean that they have the right to take over my brain? No, or anyone else's brain, right? No, because like just because you you shouldn't burn yourself alive to save somebody else.
Agreed.
That does not help anybody. And
for sure.
Right. And so you shouldn't allow somebody to eat you in order to feed somebody. And that's what they're saying is like, I want to eat you so that way I can live my life.
Yeah,
and that's
it
bad.
is not. Yeah, it is just not okay in my perspective of, somebody that is not involved in a war against aliens, that I cannot see it being okay to boil them alive or.
So I hear what you're saying and I agree with it on principle. The problem I have with it is that when you're staring at another living being in its final moments, even when it's expected or wanted, it is hard to accept that in any way, at least on on a personal level. Because even when I have patients that I know are going to die, are going to pass away, it feels like a failure in letting that happen.
I don't see how this is related.
I just mean it's hard for me personally to watch any life die.
Sure.
And this is watching and making life die. And I think if we can't at least acknowledge that we are making life die, then, I mean,
it should be sad. And honestly, Jake should emotionally die from this act. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes.
I don't think he was emotionally affected by it. I
disagree. He was emotionally affected by this. He even paused and said, "That's a big number. Holy shit."
Yeah.
And I think that wasn't
this, yeah, I don't think this broke him. I think he was already broken.
Amanda, I like you. I cannot agree with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, he's obviously trying to justify it to himself, make himself feel okay with it. and it bothers him, but I don't think it bothered him a lot.
It's
he's in war mode, and I think
he's in war mode.
He has told himself it's okay. They're the enemy. They're not human.
I think that no matter what, if you're in war mode, you keep on moving no matter what choice you just made.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, you have to,
right? Yeah,
How
sure.
else do you sustain?
Sure, yeah, totally. I think that even if he was emotionally affected by it or not emotionally affected by it, he's still going to move.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I could go so far off on book 6, but I will not.
I mean, much like Jake, we must also continue to move.
And like, there's no good answer on this. There's no right answer on this.
Sure.
Like, ethically,
Right, yeah.
like it's worthy of reading. It's worthy of discussion.
Sure.
Right? So go do that, listeners. We want you to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All right, yeah.
We want you to watch RRR.
Okay.
We want you to watch Nothing But Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to Have
Have you seen nothing? Have you seen Nothing by Trouble?
No, I have not. I know he's got a penis nose. We want you to watch RoboCop.
Okay.
We want you to look at the Goatse picture, and we want you to think about the cost of war on your soul and the cost of killing a lot of enemy combatants. But
So
we knew this would go long and be hard to talk about.
you want?
Oh, yeah, this is...
You want also long and hard? Cuss Revenge. No.
And you know what else is definitely not phallic whatsoever? The blade ship.
So Visser 3 will not acknowledge the Animorphs win. He says, "It took me a while to see what had happened, but I see it now. The blade ship will attack, and I am helpless, unable to control this ship." He laughed mirthlessly. "Only a traitor could have beaten me. I was not beaten by you, human, or by your pet Andalite there. I was undone by my trusting nature." Visser 3's crime is that he loves too much. He trusts his friends too much.
I mean, like, honestly, has he ever thought of himself as not the perfect leader?
No, never.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I was too perfect.
Only another Yearn could have beaten me, and then only by the lowest treason. I was not beaten by you, never by you. He's right.
Yeah.
What would he why is this... Wait, just the choice of... Sorry, I apparently I can't even. The choice of words was saying only by the lowest treason.
Because treason is low.
If it was high treason, he would have caught it, but it's that dirty, dirty blow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I know that he's... The intent is to say that treason is the lowest, but yeah, I read it as like only such a low quality treason that is above my purview.
When Visser 3 does treason, it's good. When other people do treason to Visser 3, it's bad.
It's a class thing. Oh, it was low class treason.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, he threw mud at me. That was not part of the rules.
But yes, it's a poor people's treason.
But they point out that Visser 3 can have 2 shots off at the blade ship. He says, yes, we will try that very thing. But you see, someone is bleeding power out of the Dracon beams. Power is being diverted. One of the traitors at work, I suppose. We will get off 1 or 2 shots, but at 1/4 strength. Will they be enough? Unlikely. That's when Jake realizes it's Eric. He's draining the power of the ships because he is preventing death.
Can we talk about the mood of Visser 3 just a little bit?
Beaten down.
I think that he is sitting down in a chair, swirling wine. I mean, not like really wine, but like,
right.
You know, he's watching his empire crumble.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting there. He's just like, you've got me. I can't fire back. I can't fight back. All I can do is take some satisfaction in the knowledge that you will all go down with me. You're on the ship.
Yes.
Eat shit.
Yes. He says, we are without propulsion, Visser. Yes, I noticed that, Visser 1 said. No engines, and all our brothers in the pool murdered by these humans. We are being hailed. Of course, Visser 1 muttered. By all means, we must play it out. Like, even he's going through the motions.
Yeah, and like, so Tom zips up on the screen, and he's just like, it seems like you're experiencing a little bit of engine trouble.
The Empire will track you down and kill you. You do understand that, I hope.
Oh, I doubt that. I think the Empire will have its hands full.
Tom's Yearn said cheerfully.
The Andalite fleet is rather close. It's possible that I may have misled you on that point.
All at once, he knew.
You're not dead.
I noticed the same thing, Visser 1 said dryly. Tom snapped an order to his crew.
Bring us around to target the pool ship's bridge. Do it now. Now. Bring us around.
Jake, Tobias said, pleading, knowing, but pleading anyway. Rachel, I said, go. And that is the end of this book.
Yeah, hey.
Tom targeting them, Jake telling Rachel to attack.
Big cliffhanger. Okay, so I've had 3 beers.
Just 3? Man, I've had so many more.
It's a big cliffhanger ending. And yeah, so what's going to happen in this beginning?
So fuck the next book. Fuck the LMS Chronicles. Fuck the last book.
Okay.
What did you think of this book, Nate?
So takeaway notes. Good end of Visser 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he didn't just get like thrown into a volcano screaming no. That was always my fear. With that they would just get him in a trap and he'd be like, no, anti-bandits, and then just like puff into like a volcano or something. Instead, he's defeated thoroughly.
Yeah.
Which is like you had power and you lost it.
By being abusive of that power.
Well, or just like you reach the pinnacle now, like finally you've reached the top, that the highest position you can ever reach, and we're going to pull you down to the bottom, and that's going to be really funny.
Yeah, we're going to drag you over the coals and spank your little bottom.
That's right. And like, that's great. And like him just being like, shit, fine.
He's like, I just have to go through the motions of this.
Yeah, like he's already seen the ending of this book.
To the office politics comparison that Tom made, he lost by being a shitty manager. Like, he abused the employees to the point where one of them decided he wanted to start his own company and he was taking his good coworkers with him.
Yeah, this is like when Michael started the paper company from Dunder.
You know what's been one of my deal breakers in relationships?
What?
Is them liking The Office.
Wow.
I hate The Office. It's one of the worst modern tales we've ever told.
You know, there's some weird like coincidences that people end up finding with red flags.
I only like the British Office, but it's only because I think Ricky Gervais is right about everything.
It's great that he's so brave to say anything.
No.
Tyler, no, you're trying to silence him right now. Let him say things. Are you having a laugh?
No, fuck that guy.
When you said you picture Visser 1 like swirling a glass of wine, it immediately gave me instead a visual of him chilling in his captain's chair with one hoof in a glass of wine.
Yeah, that's good.
Beautiful. Do we think this is a good Jake book?
It's a good book. Jake's hard. That's the one credit I will give Jake, is that he's hard. How do you write Jake?
Like Jake is a difficult character to write because what makes a leader? Like, I don't know.
It's stupid, right?
However, I will say having K.A. back on the helm of Jake was refreshing because in a lot of the ghost-written Jake books, there's not a character, there's plot. And somehow these two fuckers can balance plot and emotion even with Jake. And that was refreshing.
Sure.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of like writing a good Superman story.
There are good Superman stories. Come on.
But Red Sun?
Well, yeah, there are good.
No, All-Star Superman is the best Superman story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I mean. There are good Superman stories, but he's very hard to write well.
I mean,
because
I do agree.
Because he's such a Boy Scout character and also just so Superman's also very overpowered, but it's hard to have like a meaningful conflict with that kind of character and still have an interesting story.
It's just Jake to me has always been the plot butler. He carries the plot, and he has the platter and the little thing that's over the platter, the little the dome.
Yeah, the Mr. Belvedere of Animorphs.
Right, and he
sat on his own balls in this book.
Yeah, and he brought over this platter, and he unveils here the plot, and I'm just like, am I like, do I have feelings about Jake, or do I have feelings about what war does? I don't have feelings about Jake. I don't. This book still hasn't sold me on Jake having feelings and emotions. He's
Jake problem.
I never developed any emotions one way or another for Jake.
Yeah,
just did not like him whatsoever.
Yeah, like I think Jake's the plot. He's the protagonist of the story of Animorphs, sure. But I think that when he brings over the plot, like he carries the author's message, and the author's message is war is bad, to oversimplify it, right? And war does things to you. And Jake being innocent, plain nobody, being turned into war criminal. That trajectory doesn't say much about who Jake is as a person, right? It just kind of says like, okay, here's what leaders look like, and here's what turns them into monsters. And it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, like I don't think he really ever got much characterization aside from likes basketball and video games.
Right. Like
so,
and likes Cassie. And I think like if we're really thinking about like the Missing Jake book, the Missing Jake book to me is why does Jake like Cassie? Why does Jake really love Cassie in theory? We'll never know, because I think ultimately that's not Jake's purpose. Tyler, why does Jake love Cassie?
She's got a bunch of cute animals at her house.
Yeah. I mean, like,
No,
she likes 9-inch nails.
Nice is neat, actually. I think you made a great point about how this doesn't solve Jake, but what war does to someone.
Yeah.
And I think
you got to have the plain everyman.
Yes. And
Johnny Everyman.
And I think that's Jake, because this happens to people as young as Jake, a little older than Jake. And there is a cost on the soul. Mm-hmm. And we finally get to see that in this book, because I think for the first time in a long time, Jake has a soul.
Yeah.
And this is not and Jake is a character where you cannot blame it on his, life circumstances. Like, you can't say that this had such an effect on him because he's a minority, because he has a single parent, because his parents are in the middle of a divorce.
Are they?
No, you can't say those things about Jake.
No, he's just like the every kid.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like he has two parents. He had an older brother that hung out with him. He had a golden retriever, like
Homer, yeah.
So he had like the American dream childhood, except for his biggest problem was not making the basketball team. Like, it's that he's just so normal and average that nothing can be used as an explanation for how he became like this, except for war.
Yeah, other than the corrupting force of taking lives.
Right.
Yeah.
To be weird about it.
Right.
Let's get weird about it.
And I think that's an important message for a lot of kids to hear.
Well, yeah, it's just like, in this case, he had all the nature around him that sets him up for a successful life. Mm-hmm. And I think the most important part of this book is when he's like, yeah, we should get married, Cassie. Because that's him still trying to pretend that he's going to have a normal life.
He's in the bargaining phase, yeah.
Yeah. But like, we know that he won't. And I think that the most important, like, that's the most important part in the book, is him like pretending this guy have a normal life because he knows that he's not. But like, yeah, you're right. For plot purposes, he is 100% has the nature going for him. He has everything set up for success. Mm-hmm. But the circumstances of war will turn you into a goblin. They will turn you evil. And
Jake going goblin mode.
I mean, yeah, like, okay, so
Flushing Yerks going goblin mode.
That's the point I'm trying to make, is that the circumstances of the world will turn you into a monster if you let it. Mm-hmm. And Jake, and like, one of the avenues to turn you into a monster is responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's like, you are not a leader. You're responsible for the entire fate of mankind. And so, as such, you must make hard decisions. And sometimes you make hard decisions that are both ineffectual, incorrect, and against who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. And that's that. And we saw all of that horror show in one book, book number 35, The Answer. Tyler, what is The Answer?
The answer is, my name is Jake Berenson. I'm 16 years old.
Okay. Amanda, what is the answer?
Amanda, did you like this book?
Yeah, I did like this book. I think I remember when I was young wishing it hadn't been a Jake book. But I liked it. And
I would argue it's one of the greats, if not one of the best Jake books.
it is, but I've never liked Jake books.
Well, yeah.
So that, yeah.
He's the blank canvas of which we can paint our plot upon.
But I think the answer is a philosophical answer from Jake to kind of asking himself, who am I as a person? Like, he has kind of made that decision.
He's allowed the world to shape him into something.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the world puts pressures on us, and if you don't have a strong enough character, you turn into Jake. If you're not Tobias, if you're not Cassie, well, actually, if you are, because the same thing happened to Cassie too, didn't it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cassie was very strong-willed and saying, "I won't kill, I won't do these things." In this book, she's digging at throats and saying, like, "Yeah, we should genocide the Taxons." Her character, her strength of will, if you will,
right,
was weak enough to be formed by the circumstances of her situation.
Which, I mean, an argument could be made that that's the cost of war.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like, hey, you know what? Like, if you're not that, if you're not the type of person that says, like, yeah, war will that will go along with the flow, that will change your moral code. You can't be a part of war. Instead, you have to jump off a roof and break your leg so you don't become a part of war. Mm-hmm. Right?
I just saw how you'd get out of the draft. Excellent.
Yeah, honestly, like, if it came to a draft, I would I broke my leg, as it turns out.
Not become a teacher?
Oh, is that a way out? Sure, that sounds a lot easier than breaking my leg.
I think becoming an educator was one of the ways out.
Sure.
I'd go in being a nurse, being the Hawkeye.
Right, because, like, I know this is, like, there are very, very few justified wars.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are, like, retrospectively, like, yeah, that was kind of fine, were retrospective. You don't know at the time whether or not a war is justified most of the time.
I was taught back in Catholic high school that there is a definition of a just war.
It's whether or not God tells you to do it.
No, actually. So it has to be waged between two legitimate authorities, or two legitimate sovereign nations, or something like that.
God and the devil.
I mean, like, yeah, I still don't buy that. Like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I'm some English guy who's going off to France to kill some French guy. Like, that doesn't matter. Fuck. Don't go to that war. And, like, honestly, so the thing I like about Animorphs, and I think the thing that these books do well, that sets it apart from different young adult books, is that it phrases these questions and kind of leans the reader in a direction, but doesn't tell you the answer. Much like the name of the book, hey. We're not supposed to know the answer, because I don't think there is an answer.
Right.
It's what you bring to it. I have my answer. Mm-hmm. Tyler has his answer, which better be the same as my answer. And Amanda,
he'll spank me if I don't.
Right. And Amanda has her answer, and, like, we all have our own answer to this question. And hey, listener.
Yeah, think about it.
Hey, do you think about this one? Query this. Riddle me this.
Listeners, so just to recap, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
RRR.
Okay.
Nothing But Trouble.
Okay.
Anaconda.
Okay.
RoboCop.
Okay.
Look at Goatse.
Okay.
What was the seventh thing?
All of Animorphs.
All of King of the Hill.
All King of the Hill.
Yes.
All of Animorphs. Amanda, tell these people where they can find you if you want them to find you.
I don't post much, but I am on Twitter At Galactic Umami.
That's a great name. That is such a good at.
Or on Positivity on the podcast Discord.
Excellent.
Positivity, it's spelled PAWS.
Like paws, like animal paws.
Yes.
How are we getting out of this one, Nate?
Well, I mean, like, okay, we're in low spirits. And what do you know? Do you know how to tango?
I know Macho Man Randy Savage.
Okay. Do you know how to swing?
I do.
What about Desi Notch?
बैली जैसे धूल उड़ा के सींग उठा के तुम भी नाचो बाजे जम के ताल ढोल बेटा राजू उड़ के नाचो हीरो से भी तेज कोई कर सके जो बेद नाचो अस्तबल में घोड़े जैसे भाग डोर छोड़ नाचो मिट्टी जो रोट मोटा मिर्चा खा के ऐसे नाचो हाँ जा छोरे हाँ जा गोरे हाँ जा छोरे नाचो 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 वीर नाचो